Oh, we're live. I'm muted. No, I'm not. Hey, how's it going?
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. I think it's just us.
It's just us.
Just the
Much
two of us.
cooler, more popular. People are talking about the same thing that we're going to talk about. So
They are. They really are. And to be fair, I did move the time of this live around about 5 times. So
yeah, what was up with that? I feel like we were playing rock, paper, scissors or some shit with the time.
musical chairs.
It was my
Just
fault.
like to keep people guessing. So EMS is here. My wife is here. Do you see her?
I see her.
That's my girl crush. And also we have the royal we, Carbon, #1 fan. As in I am a #1 fan of Carbon. How's everybody doing? It goes pretty good. Things are good. DB, how are you doing?
Did you ask me? I was sneezing. Sorry.
You were sneezing.
I did a sneeze.
I asked you how you were doing.
I'm quite well. Hi, TT. Hi, Hansi. Hi, Carbon. Hi, Ems. Hi, the Royal Wee. I mean, Dr. Wee.
Dr. Wheat. Dr. Wheat. We got the whole fam here tonight.
Yo, listen. You know, people always like, oh, DB has such a nice voice. He's great. Fucking M sent me an audio clip. I was like, dog.
Did you drool?
Can't be getting those.
I know.
Peggy.
She'll tweet in Portuguese, and I'm like,
yeah. Portuguesa.
Portuguesa. Courtney was gonna come, but she's here in spirit with us.
Yeah. She got her car towed in Carroll County.
Yeah, Liggett towed Courtney's car, locked her up.
The sheriff, I guess he's just really interested in the trial, in the case, the pre-trial hearings.
He must be. Yeah, he's invested. So
my apologies. I didn't mean to ghost. I need to follow up.
What the hell, DB?
I know.
Sick. You're sick.
I got called out live.
Yeah, well, can't be doing that.
Everybody, I apologize here with you all as a witness to my good friend Ems.
Yeah, an apology's good. You know what's better?
Just sending that message.
Making amends.
Yeah,
Don't let it happen again. Never let it happen again. Ever. Hi,
so
Rebecca.
This whole thing's about me, huh?
Yes, this is an intervention. We've all brought you here today, all of your female friends, and we're here to talk to you about your behavior.
So y'all met up with each other like a
drink. We have a group chat.
Oh no.
And you are the subject of the group chat often. We raise issues, we air grievances, and we're here tonight to share those with you.
Well, put them in super chats. We're gonna go.
Yes. Oh yes. Please. It's been a long summer. We need all the, dopamine we can get around here. So, all right. Yeah, this is great. Do you see this, DB? This is a call out.
Well, I can't change it right now. I mean, I did what I could. I apologized publicly. I humiliated myself. So
let the record show DB is humiliated. So our work is done.
Now Luke is here, so my humiliation is just going to be a fucking constant all night. So.
Well, no, we can put a quirk in it. We had our intervention. We said what we needed to say, and Yellow's making ceviche. Have you ever had ceviche, DB?
Isn't that Veach? Veach?
Ceviche.
Ceviche?
It's a Latin American.
Was that like pudding or something?
Yeah. Yep. Just like like pudding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Every time you put that up, I'm afraid I don't know what it is, and I get nervous.
I don't know what it is.
I get nervous. What is he doing? Courtney's not. Let the record again. Turn it off. But I like the clip though. Can't you do it without the music, or like add royalty free like?
Oh yeah, can somebody play piano and maybe or a synthesizer?
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll get that.
No, not you.
Why? I'm great at synthesizer.
Oh, okay.
I'm
We'll
like
have to get
the synthesis. I'm like, I won awards and shit. I'm like Carnegie Hall levels with the synthesizer.
Okay.
Forget it though. I don't want to do it
Sure.
anymore. No, I don't want to do it anymore. Ceviche is actually it's like very like it's like cubed, cut up like raw seafood, and then they like cook it in like lime and cilantro, and then they serve it. It's delicious. It's delicious. Yes. That was Phil Collins and DMX, actually. R.I.P. Funny story, actually, about DMX for another time.
I can feel it. That
was beautiful. Didn't everyone think that was beautiful?
Oh, my bad. Go ahead. What you were saying about DMX?
One time he came to like Westchester County. He was going to do a show, and first
Bam Margera.
I don't think
DMX and CKY.
That'd be really funny. No, I don't think that Bam was featured that night. But he was like, okay. They're like, okay, he's running late. He went to Ruby Tuesday, got a steak. He like ate a steak, and like everyone was like waiting. It was like at a mall, and they were all like waiting, watching him eat steak. He went on stage, played like 2 songs, and left. And everyone was like, I mean, it's better than not seeing DMX, you know? So anyway, fun times. So what are we here to talk about other than your behavior?
Well, now that we've addressed that.
We've addressed that.
Thanks for the information there.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we're here to talk about the criminal case against Richard Allen.
Yeah. Cool.
So there's just been some information that happened today. There was an attempt at espionage, I heard.
If she's probably still with T, but if Gritty at any point comes into the chat, has an open invitation to hop on and talk to us about her foiled espionage attempt. Actually, is what it was. It was foiled.
It was, and she made a hilarious video that I watched.
Everyone needs to go watch her video. I would play it, but I didn't get her permission first. But if she comes,
I actually got her permission.
Did you?
Yep, she said we could.
Do it.
Well, I'm still setting the docs up. So.
Okay.
So you do it. Show us that you know how to do it.
I know how to do it.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do it right now. I know how to do it though. So anyway, when do you think we're going to find out what happened? So here's a recap. Judge Gull gives no fucks about the public.
Squidward, you're standing on my foot.
Oops. Oh, sorry, SpongeBob. And you got your elbow in my ribs. Ew.
I don't really know what that is, but I just know that you've played it a couple times, and it seems to be a crowd favorite. So
it's just really a story of indiscriminate, body parts being jammed into other people's body parts.
Ooh.
And just inconsiderate behavior. So
okay. Does McClellan still have a mustache? Does anyone know the answer to this? I need to know.
Well, if he shaved it, does that mean the people making fun of him won? Or did he just shave it on his own,
I believe that if he still has it, party?
I believe he's a really good guy.
Yeah, the best. All right. So everybody showed up at early, before 1, and then Courtney, are you sure you don't want to come on? You don't have to turn your camera on. It's fine. But
yeah, I have my camera on, but you don't have to.
DB always has his camera on. He's just very stoic. That's all. So there was no public hearing. There was apparently a private hearing, a closed-door hearing between the attorneys, the state. I guess law enforcement was in there, right? Vito and who did she say? Vito, Holman, McClelland.
And Cheeto.
Vito, Cheeto, McClelland. Dorito. Okay. And Frito.
Big Fish was supposed to come on.
Yeah, what
I
happened?
don't know if she's gonna come on, or I don't know if they are gonna come on.
We use
Gender neutral.
they them.
My apologies.
It's all right. Bacon Fest. DB, I thought you were going to be at Bacon Fest. I thought you were performing.
No, I am a Nobel laureate of Bacon Fest, though. I am a governor emeritus, if you will, of the bacon.
Oh, the bacon.
I got gout. I ate too much bacon.
You have gout from all the bacon. That's not good, man. That's not good. That's a lot of bacon consumption. Bacon Fest is interesting. I read that 10,000 people attend Bacon Fest on any given day of the festival, and they come from all over Indiana and probably Illinois. I just don't like bacon that much. Like, not enough to go to Bacon Fest. I just don't. You know, no one asked, but I don't.
I was actually wondering, so I appreciate it.
Huh?
I was wondering, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, what do we want to do first?
I'm pulling this up right now.
Oh, okay. Well,
Permission to pull.
permission granted. Permission to pull granted.
Okay, let's start with Hansy Bacon. You read this?
You want me to read it?
Yes, please.
Okay, now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas C. McClelland and pursuant to Rule 45B. Okay. Well,
Kind of hard, isn't it? Go ahead.
The Indiana Rules of Trial Procedure requests that the court quash the subpoena issued for David Schilling, do be deposed in the above captioned matter. In support of said motion, True Grit, come up here. Get her up here, DB. I'm going to keep reading.
Ma'am.
Get her up here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in support of said motion, the state asked the court to consider the following. That the defendant served the state with a subpoena to depose David Schilling on October 28th, 2024, in 5 days. Good evening, Kokomo, my friend. I haven't seen you in a minute. Nice to see you. Number 2, that David Schilling is listed as the state's witness, that the state listed him as a rebuttal witness to testify as an expert on Odinism. Number 3, that the information on Odinism has been challenged by the state in a motion in limine, where the state has asked the court to exclude any testimony in relation to Odinism from the trial. Number 4, that the state believes the deposition of David Schilling is unreasonable and that it is not relevant to any issues of the case. The state believes the testimony of the deponent is not relevant and is not exculpatory in any way to the defendant. Further, this is good, that a deposition is an effort by the defense to annoy, embarrass, or oppress the deponent or party. The deposition is set for August 28th, 2024. The state reached out to the defense to attempt to move the deposition until after the court has made its ruling on third-party motive, but the defense refuses to move the deposition. DB, darling, could you, when you get a minute, anyway.
Up, down, up, down. You want to go up or down?
Down. Down. Yep. There you go. Wherefore, the state asks that the court to issue an order quashing the subpoena and for all other just and proper relief in the premises. I think it's interesting that they say that this is their expert. Take your time, Gritty. This is the state's expert, but that
I
they
believe it's Gritty.
She's going to get her fur babies fed and situated. That's a good thing to do. You had quite a day today, so yeah. It's very interesting that they're like...
Yes, I did. It was really exhausting refreshing Twitter today so many times. I really do appreciate everybody helping me and standing by.
Yeah. You're welcome. You want to read this one?
No.
Okay. Now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nick McClelland, pursuant to Rule 45B, request the court quash the subpoenas for Pat Westfall, Nick Westfall, Tobe Lesenby, do be deposed in the above captioned manner. That's a weird sentence. Is it supposed to say that?
So we depose in the above captioned manner in said supportive motions.
Do be deposed.
Oceans are in the ocean.
Do be
Courts, do beliefs. I don't know. That seems weird to me.
Okay, that the court quash the subpoena issued for Pat Westfall, Nick Westfall, Tobe Lesenby, do be deposed. To be deposed? Did he really?
No, I think that's his first name. Tobe Lesenby? To be.
Do be deposed. Toby Lesenby do be deposed in the above captioned matter.
Doobies.
In the support, I said Nick maybe smoked a to do be deposed before writing this. In support of said motion, the state asked the court to consider the following. 1, that the defendant served the state with subpoena to depose Patrick Westfall and Nick Westfall on August 28th, 2024. And then Tobe Lesenby on September 13th, 2024. So they're deposing, or they're wanting to depose Pat Westfall and his son and the Odinist expert on the same day. Interesting. That the state believes the depositions of Pat Westfall and Nick Westfall are unreasonable. They're not relevant to any issues in the case.
Wait, did this say his son?
Yep.
Or did you put that in there?
Well, no, it didn't say his son, but that is his son.
Oh, and you know that? Or are you hallucinating the facts? Are you trying to... Is this a narrative, or do you really know that?
Someone should fact check me on that. Mama Gritty! Gritty's here.
Oh my God. Gritty, what's up?
Gritty gave me
Day?
life today. Gave me fucking life today. I was like not feeling like too energized, and then I turned on Gritty and she was clapping.
I think Gritty almost got life today.
Without parole. Hi, Gritty. Welcome.
Hi.
It's so nice to have you on the R&M channel, DB Cooper's Pride and Joy.
Oh, thank you.
How was your day today?
Of course, you're welcome.
Today was long
Yeah.
and a little bit crazy, I guess. I guess Ray-Ban.
Ray-Ban Gate.
Yeah.
Ray-Ban Gate.
Yeah. So
I think check the stock prices on Ray-Ban right now, guys.
Shut up.
I mean they're great glasses, but they don't do all that craziness. I had the first, like, when they first came out, you know what I mean? Like when they first released them, they're not like a perfect prototype.
You got that
So,
pilot Ray-Ban.
yeah. Yeah, I got the Pilot Ray-Bans, the OG.
I love that. Someone ratted you out, Mama.
Well,
How do they know?
I had them on my head, like, you know how like you just put them on the top of your head or whatever, and
Yeah.
I was leaning down, and I was rustling around in my purse, and the dude was walking past me, and he's like, "Hey, you know, like, come here." And yeah, he's like, "Is there a camera on those sunglasses?" I'm like, "But they're not even on." Like he inspected them and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, "There's nothing you can do with them. They're not even running. They're not on. I have no device to hook them up to."
Yeah, you have to have your phone to have the...
Yeah, and my phone was in my glove compartment, locked in my glove compartment, and I was parked over 4 blocks away.
Jeez. Oh, no. We lost Mama. She'll be back. How much money do you think they're making on these
Damn,
travel
Holman
tickets?
came back and just fucking yanked her up, dude.
Holman kicked her?
Yeah, Liggett and Holman got her.
Hey, while I got you here, DB, I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Deb Lowe told me once that... Oh, she's back. There you are.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, we were...
But yeah. But like I said, I mean, my phone was locked in my glove compartment. My car was like parked like 4 blocks away. Like,
Crazy.
I don't know. But it was something.
Yeah. Well, so they asked you for your name and your...
My phone number.
Did you tell them? Did you tell them to pound sand, or did you give them your name?
No, I gave him my first and last name and my phone number.
That was nice. That was good of you.
Go ahead, take it. I have nothing to hide. You guys can take the glasses if you want. Hell, take my fucking device. Do what you want. You're not gonna find shit. There ain't shit because I didn't do anything.
Oh, well,
So
yeah, obviously.
I just had the glasses on my head when I walked into the courthouse. I did not know that it was going to bring so much ridiculousness and drama. And I did not know that it would cause somebody to text me and say, well, somebody said that you're recording and doing all this mess that I haven't even done.
You know, this case is bananas. The people that follow this case, for the most part, are great. There are some absolute psychotic lunatics that follow this case. And I'm thinking of a couple in particular who seem to, like, for sport, they just kind of like make shit up. It's just kind of their thing. So,
well, the person who asked me about it knows that person or whatever. And I asked them to please set the record straight with that individual. And that individual agreed that they would set the record straight about what happened. And leave it at that. I mean, there's no point in all of this ridiculousness that's happening and transpiring.
Yeah, you'd think they'd want to talk about the fact that a lot of people drove all the way to a hearing that never happened, right? You'd think that'd be more interesting.
Well, yeah, you would think that they would want to talk about how here it is once again that the public has been locked out of hearings. There's absolutely no transparency. There's just a bunch of bogusness going on. Nobody wants to talk about that. Y'all want to talk about a pair of sunglasses that weren't even in working order.
Well, it distracts from the facts of which is that it's just the same old fucking bullshit, it seems.
Right?
Yeah.
Same stuff, different day.
So how long does it take you to get there one way?
2 hours and 14 minutes.
I'd be so mad.
Well, I left earlier this morning. Like, I got there at 10:04 this morning. Because I was like, at first I was like, I'll leave later. But then I thought to myself, no, because you do know that there are those dedicated folks that will get up at the crack of dawn and be at that door as soon as they open.
Yeah, for sure.
And so they were there at like 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I got there at 10:04. And I mean, I left out of there to come back outside to talk about the new filings and went back in. I mean, I went through security twice. Like I said, if it was going to be a problem to begin with, nobody said anything.
So they didn't say to you when you first went in?
No, they were literally on my face. I took them off. I put them in the little container, that you put your keys in and all that stuff. They went through the machine right along with my purse. Nobody said a word to me. I went in, went upstairs, found out about the motions, went back down, walked all the way to my car. Made the video letting you guys know, like, hey, there's some new motions that's been filed. And go back in. And again, they were on my face. I took them off my face, put them right back through the machine. Nothing. Yeah. Nobody said anything until I was leaned over. I was getting in my purse and an officer walking by goes, hey, you. Okay.
Hey, you.
Yeah. He's like, pointing at me. He goes, hey, you, come here. Like I was some little kid in trouble doing something.
I would have said, come and get me. You're going to have to catch me first.
Yeah. And I walked over there and he's like, let me see those sunglasses. And he looked at them, and he's like, there a camera on these glasses? I was like, well, yeah. I mean, I showed him the spot where the camera, obviously is. Like you can see where the lens is. But I was like, they're not on. They're not operating. They're not even charged. And I was like, I don't even have a device here. Like, I don't even have a device in the building to even use those. You have to be within a certain distance to even use them.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I'm going to have to ask you to take them to your car. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I obliged. I went downstairs. And as I was getting ready to leave out the door, I asked, they had a little box over there for devices. And I was like, I told the officer, I was like, listen, these aren't charged. Like, I'm not using them. My device isn't here. But the officer said that there was an issue because there was a camera on them. I was like, can I surrender them right here? And she was like, yeah, put them in the box. Nobody even said anything else to me about it until I was getting ready to leave. And as I was exiting to get on the elevator, when the guy ran over and he's like, I need your name and your phone number. And he's like, I have to tell Gull that you had the glasses because I had a camera on them. And I was like, but they weren't even in working order. He's like, I know that, but she still has to know that they were in the building. I'm like, okay. And then he said, this could prevent you from being able to attend future hearings.
Yeah, they'd like
And
that.
I said, oh, okay. And what else could I say?
You could have said, hey, Drew, where were you on? Never mind. You're right. Never mind. Well, that sucks. I'm sorry that happened, but at least you didn't
Oh
miss
my
anything.
God. My mic was muted, but I just. Yeah. I was like, don't do it, Angela.
I didn't say anything. I've been good.
Right.
I've been really good. I think that
Yeah.
I know True Grit Crime is quite familiar with his the timeline in that situation too.
Oh, good.
I am. I'm very familiar with all of it. So, but yeah, so I chalk it up, charge it to the game. If it is what it is. Hopefully, I wasn't like outside of the decorum. They were allowing the devices to like come into the courthouse, obviously, like not upstairs or whatever. Yeah. I didn't have anything to run it. It wasn't even charged. So I don't know. I guess it's up to her discretion.
Yeah, they're not going to do shit.
So,
well, what is your best guess as to what the fuck happened today?
Oh man.
You said you seen an officer walk a man in with a suit, right?
Yes, I saw an officer walk in with a man in his suit. And I know that it was an officer because his gun was showing and his badge was showing.
So he was like plain clothes, but like had a badge on his
belt? Like he had like court clothes, you know what I mean? Like he had a pair of slacks on and a shirt, and then he had his belt on with his badge and his gun. And then the other guy that was with him was in the suit, like the Men in Black type suit, walking with him like he was, security.
Like an FBI agent,
kind of like that. Yeah. And they had went in there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every time I see a guy like that, I just think you guys ever watch that movie with Chris Rock where he head of state, where he becomes security? He's got the crazy ex-wife or the ex-girlfriend. Every time she comes around, he screams, security.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay. I wonder who that was. DB, who was that? Tell us.
I'm looking.
He's looking.
I'm triangulating.
Okay, excellent.
But yeah, so I got in my car and I wasn't in my car 20 minutes driving home, and the air conditioner's out of my car and it was already hot.
It was hot today.
And I looked at that message and I was like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, what? And yeah, so excuse my French, pardon my French. When I got home, I was a little bit heated. So
is it this gentleman right here?
Yeah, that's one of them.
No shit.
Interesting. Sorry about that, guys. Didn't mean to distract anybody.
You're gonna get me clapped, buddy. I don't even know.
Hold on 1 second, y'all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Professor Osbrook, Mr. Michael Osbrook says, I hope everybody realizes how legally silly his motions to quash are.
I don't realize
very
that,
silly. Saint Jerome. You don't realize how silly, DB? You thought they were fabulous.
I thought, he was really making a great point there. I want to have evidence come into court that I want to come in, and then at a later time, I want to file what I would call a whoopsies.
Whoopsies. Okay. I would like to file a whoopsie.
A whoopsies. That happens.
Yeah.
And I want to show a really quick clip of somebody experience a whoopsies today.
Yes.
So to clear that up, I was not taking photo or nothing like that. Nothing going on. They weren't even fucking charged. My phone was not even on my persons. It was in my car, locked in my glove compartment. So be sure that if you're going to say something and tell something, tell the whole truth. Do not try to run nobody's name up in the funnies. I have no problem taking personal responsibility for me. Everybody good? We're straight on that? All right. Let's keep it moving. So
I just want you to know, Gritty, I have never run your name up in the funnies. Okay.
Never.
Thank you.
I want no smoke. Everyone,
Thank you.
never come for this woman.
Never
Do
do it.
not.
Look,
Don't. I promise you. Like, I could be the nicest person in the world, or I could be mean. You do not want me to be mean. You don't. It's a bad idea.
I think you said it best, Gritty. You said, "Don't."
I'm not your friend, your family, or your confidant, and I fucking meant that.
You said,
Period. Point blank.
"Don't start none."
Yep. Don't start no shit. Won't be no shit. I'm not your friend, your family, or your confidant. And if you come for me, you better be prepared because I will come for you, and you don't want it. You don't want it. You don't want it. Trust me. Especially when it comes to my child, you don't want it, bruh. You don't.
I don't know who would have thought that would have been a good idea.
Right.
That man. What about him? Screaming shut up in a courtroom. What about a decorum
He's an
order?
elected official?
Yeah, what about a decorum order, Sheriff? Get a fucking hold of yourself. Take your blood pressure medicine.
He wasn't the only one that came out there screaming at people to shut up like that either.
Crazy.
The first dude came out there out of pocket screaming shut up at the top of his lungs too. That's just not how you deal with people. You could say, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please. Can you lower your tone? Library voices, inside voices. You ain't got to come out there and talk about shut up. Shut up. I'm the man and I'm just going to whip my dick around.
Kicking time.
That ain't how that fucking works. We are people, human beings. Speak to them like some human beings.
Carroll County hates people.
Well, they hate it when people have sense and are more intelligent than them. That's what they absolutely cannot stand.
Right.
Period.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
No, it's okay. Look, we've been clapping about this for. I mean, they hate the public. It's like they were mad that people showed up today for a hearing. They were like mad about it.
What is it that they expected somebody to do? First and foremost, you listed it as a status hearing. You've left a lot of motions out there unanswered, untaken care of yet. Maybe wouldn't you think that the public is kind of looking like maybe hopefully you might answer some questions? Mm-hmm. You know, we might find out a little bit more. I mean, I am a tax-paying person, individual of this state. I want to know what's going on because all of the different issues that have come across since this case started, it's not even just about murder. You got child exploitation, you've got drugs, you've got arsons, you got all kinds of stuff running through this. What is going on and when can we get to the bottom of this?
Probably.
It boggles my mind. And how the people of Carroll County are not saying enough is enough and we're going to make these people be held accountable and answer and do the right thing is beyond me. It's beyond me.
I would love to see that.
So yeah, it's beyond me. I don't understand it. And it's the people in power. Like when people are in power, they get away with a lot of stuff, you know, and these people have been left in power for a very long time.
Yeah, they have.
So yeah, just my opinion, just my thought, exactly what I've seen and I've observed while I've been there, you know?
Yeah, I don't know how you do it, honestly. Every day I like question this place. It's like, I call it, it's like hell and it's like Whoville. It's just like, it's so absurd that it doesn't feel real, but it's absurd in like the bad. It's like not like a funny absurd. It's like a terrifying absurd.
Absolutely. And bizarre.
Yeah, it's fucking bizarre. It's bizarro world there.
Yeah. And I just keep shaking my head because it's like there's absolutely nothing that they can talk about now that would absolutely surprise me at all. Nothing would surprise me. So
you did say you had a nice breakfast there though, right?
I did. There's this like a health shop. It's called Delphi Health. It was right across the street from the courthouse, and they make like croissant sandwiches. I had a croissant sandwich, and it had sausage and egg, and then they make like this homemade chive spread that goes on it. And I had some pepper jack cheese with it, and It was really good. They also make like healthy teas and like boba mixes and coffees, all of that jazz. Or they have like an unhealthy side of the menu if you want to be like a junkie drinker or whatever. But it was really great. The service was excellent. The lady was absolutely kind and bubbly and had a lot of personality. And it was like $7.96, and it was a nice size sandwich. So it's a good place to go.
Fiend wants to know, is it new? Because he doesn't remember it.
I don't know. I don't know if it's new. I was hungry this morning when I got there, and somebody told me to go over to this place called the Office Tavern to go get food. So when I walked over to the Office Tavern, they were like, well, we don't start cooking until 10:45 and it's 10:15 and I'm hungry. And
said, bitch.
I was like, okay. So I was like, I got to search for something, and I just happened to see it while I was walking around. Like I decided to cross the street back over and walk around the square of the courthouse to see if I saw anything. And I happened to see it and just wandered over there. So, but yeah.
That's nice.
Was Bacon Fest set up, or was it? Is there nothing? Is there nothing going on right there? Is Bacon Fest still getting set up, or is like a fest?
I have no. Like they had some of the street roads, like with those like little white things to section off to close the roads. There wasn't really like anything bustling there, right there. There was mention that there would be some stuff going on this evening. So some people were talking about if they were going to come back and go to the festival. And yeah, I was like, I'm going home.
Yep.
That's it. I'm just going home.
There's a lot of tickets handed out.
Huh?
Did you see the tickets get handed out?
Yeah, I was standing out there. There was a lot of us that were standing out there after the hearings. That's when, Rosie and them came out the door. But there was officers pulling people over. They pulled 3 people over in a matter of like 2 seconds. I'm not kidding. Like whoop, whoop, whoop. Speeding, I guess, because the mileage is like 25 miles an hour on that little road there, and they were popping people left and right. They pulled 3 people over. We were standing there and just whoop, whoop, whoop. 3 people lit up. So I don't know.
Do you think there was no hearing today, or it was just not a public hearing?
There was a hearing this afternoon from that 1 to 1:37. That was the portion of the public being closed out of that hearing. What was supposed to happen was there was supposed to be that first closed off part of the hearing, and then the public was supposed to be allowed access the second half. And that did not happen.
Got it.
So that's when, like we were all out there hanging out in the atrium. The officer came out there and he started screaming at people to shut up, that they couldn't hear themselves in the courtroom, and I was like 15, 20 minutes later, Diener come out. She started talking to Kelsey and them. And then Liggett came out and said, there will be no public hearing today. Get up, get out, go. That's it. And there were a lot of people that just kind of sat there stunned for a second. Like everybody's like staring at each other. Like everybody's trying to figure out who's going to move first. Who's going to go first? Because we're all standing there just dumbfounded. Even media members are just like, what in the world's going on? Well, some of them, I guess maybe if you're a media member in the know, maybe you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they were very tight-lipped today for the other part for the rest of everybody else. So
I kind of wonder if like she didn't just schedule a public hearing because she knew that she'd get so much flack for just having a closed door hearing, like fully anticipating that it wouldn't happen. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of shit that I expect her to do now.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately.
I don't know. Like, I think that is just a lot. We have to remember, like, not only all these orders that she still has to, rule on, like these couple orders that she has left to rule on. But you have to remember, over these 3-day hearings, they were discussing pulling in Cecil for depositions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they said within 2 weeks of that hearing. So last week they would have been doing depositions for Cecil. Then now you got them filing the motions to be able to get the work records regarding Dr. Walla and her, deep in background. So I mean, I think there's something to brewing. Do I necessarily think now that they may go to trial in October? Maybe not. They may push it back again. You know what I mean? But I mean, everybody else today was like, "Oh, he's taking a deal. He's taking a deal." Just because like there's a small setback at this point, because again, let's remember, looking at the stuff that was put out today, what are they doing? They're asking for more information, more subpoenas. I just don't see them like all of a sudden just being like, you know what, I just don't want to do this anymore and I give up.
DB,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, DB, do you have that picture of Rick Allen?
Now there was a couple of people today that I had talked to, because I was able to talk to kind of a different variety of people today. There was one lady who said that she believed that Richard Allen wanted to confess, but the defense attorneys wouldn't allow him to confess. And I was like, interesting, And I was like, well, why do you think that? And she was like, just, it's all about, the fame, the money.
Oh yeah,
okay.
They're making so much money with this bullshit, right? They're not even getting paid.
Yeah. So then I talked to another gentleman. I didn't catch his name, but he was talking about, like when the girls had gone missing, and he said that he remembered at the very beginning when the girls' bodies were found, he mentioned that some of like the first news reports had said that they were found in a ravine, but then later it said a different spot. So that was really kind of like interesting. He was an older fella who seems to know the lay of the land over there. We talked about like all of the different the trails that had been made through the wooded areas over there to allow like ATV vehicles to come through. So that was a really like interesting conversation. And there was, some names mentioned that I don't want to mention like publicly right now, I guess. But yeah, so he had some points to make about that. And I'll wait until like later, until like that.
Oh no. Well, while looks like she accidentally dropped off, but I just wanted to show you guys this, if everyone can see it. This is clearly evil man here. He was faking it the whole time. You can see that he's happy now. He has glasses because he received some type of medical treatment. If you break your glasses in IDOC, I guess you just don't get another pair, So he has glasses here. He's got, looks like he can articulate his hands. Welcome back.
I swear it's not you, it's me. Okay, like I'm on my phone outside using StreamYard because it's really loud in the house when everybody's bustling. And so like I guess maybe my head must have hit the screen or whatever, because I got to put it up to my ear to hear you talking. But
no worries. We know you're a mastermind with the communication devices. Like,
yeah, no, I'm yeah. Right. So at any rate, so I don't know what you guys heard, but I had a communication with a guy, like an older guy who's like from the area. And he was talking about the first news release, like the girls were found in a ravine. Then he's like, it's another spot now. And he was talking about like trail like trails that had been made, for ATVs to get through the area, stuff like that. So it was like a really in-depth and interesting conversation today. We talked about like access in and out of the area, especially like through like the cemetery thing. There was another local there that had said that like he had been through the area like over by the cemetery part, because there's like like the gravel pit, like the used to drop down there. Like they've done some stuff to it now. It's like not the same as it was like after this happened. But somebody had mentioned that they had found like mopeds like tucked in that like spot. So I thought that was something really interesting that was brought up. And yeah, so I just kind of like walked around and chit chatted with people to kind of get their ideas of like what's going on. I was really surprised at how many people don't really know the deeper parts of the case, but kind of go by like what's bits and pieces that are out there. So I thought that was really interesting. And yeah, that's about it.
That's great. You're muted, Angel.
So yeah. So, but
Well, thanks.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, I'm so glad you were able to go. I'm
glad to go, and I don't mind going. I hope I'm able to go. Like I hope she understands that like I had no ill intent. I had no way to hook it up or anything. And if she says,
she
well,
seems
no,
very understanding.
but right. You know, but if I get barred, I get barred because that's my consequence for not leaving my glasses in my car. So, oh well, it is what it is.
You are just
You're a gem.
gracious as anything. Honestly, I'd be kicking and screaming, but I'm glad that they didn't. I'm glad you're not in Carroll County jail at 100.
I mean, criminality said somebody on Facebook said I went to jail, and I was like, "Are you fucking serious?
Oh my god,
are we really super serial right now?" Somebody said I went to jail.
The most serial, honestly.
Wow. Because I know, like, if I had done that, like, if they had actively caught me recording like that, they probably would have taken me to jail. You know what I mean? It's not rocket science.
They would love to.
The officer wouldn't have been like, "Here, let me get your name and your number." Like, no.
I think you're.
I didn't even have to give him my driver's license. So,
Did you just say she's about to get doxxed?
Well, yeah, think about it. Like, if you do get banned and your information was private and you don't talk about who you are on your fucking YouTube channel.
Yeah, they're going to dox your ass.
And they're going to be like, this person is now banned from coming. Like that. I don't know how you feel about, I don't know if you do share that. I don't know your government name. I hope if you don't share it, I hope a lot of people don't know your government name. They obviously shouldn't. And if they're about to, do that, this is a way that they could really deter people. I mean, they could just, you voluntarily gave up your name. It seems like you're just, trying to be polite, trying to be understanding. But like, what if you were just participating and watching, and then he comes up to you and says, "Give me your name"?
Well, also, like, I am registered with the Journalist Association too. You know what I mean? I do have media credentials as well. So I don't know how that entire ordeal works. I don't know. But huh?
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. So I got them a while back. Specifically when I started looking into this and Richard Allen was arrested. So it took me some time to get that together, and I got it all together. So
that's nice. I like that.
Yeah. So
well, hey, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for listening, guys. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.
And we got a little rat up here.
A rat?
A little louse.
What up, Fiend?
Not much. I didn't get duped into going to a fake hearing.
How good does that feel?
I was a little bit under the weather today, and I was like, I'm not going anywhere.
What you got? Cold? Flu?
I don't know.
That seems mysterious.
I think I ate too much cheese yesterday. Like,
okay. So what kind of cheese were you eating?
Like an unhealthy amount. I mean, it's just.
I thought you were a cat, not a mouse.
My cat loves to eat cheese. We were both eating cheese. I was
Together?
Together?
some for you, some for me, some for
That's
you,
fucking
for me.
That's adorable.
I may have
That's
gotten carried
cute,
away.
Fiend.
That's cute. Man.
It's very tender, Fiend. Thank you for sharing that.
You're one of those people that are like, oh, there's a quad homicide, but the dog was left in the backyard too long. That's really sad.
Yeah, right.
Is that you?
Probably, yes.
Okay, I could see that. Hey, so you didn't go today, but
No.
you do tend to get some information here and there. Some people do DM you, I'm sure. What's the word on the street right now that you're hearing? Can you break anything right now?
No, I don't think I can. I don't think I've got any
Okay.
insider information.
Well, I do have a test for you. Who is this?
I don't know. Is that Haran?
Did you see that she said that, or did you hear her say that's who it was?
No.
Yeah, Gritty just said I put this picture up. I said, "Is that the guy that you're talking about?" And she said yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's Special Agent Kevin Haran.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen him from like news articles and stuff before.
Yeah, Court TV.
Yeah, no, he's in a lot of high profile cases as a state witness. Like he's not a louch. Is that a word?
Slouch.
Who the fuck is he? What the fuck's he doing there?
Hey, do you know who that is? Can you give us a breakdown?
Believe he's a former FBI guy, and then he like kind of created like a consulting type of company, and I think that they do some research and aiding on extractions and explaining those things. I'm not sure. I mean, they must be involved in just like with law enforcement agencies as far as helping them in cases, but
Cell phone
I think,
shit.
yeah, the testimony is probably like on the smaller end of the stuff. But yeah, the geofence dude is correct. I mean, he's been considered very credible and an influential witness, and I know that in like some of at least one or two of the cases that are the more high profile ones, the testimony that he's given has just been like kind of detailing, okay, here's the victim's phone, and like here's we're track where their movements, and then they didn't ever get into like like a perpetrator's phone or anything like that. And every case is different as far as what they have access to, and geofencing is all Google data, so it's not like every single person can be picked up on a geofence at all. I mean, people can have their cell phones and basically be completely invisible to a geofence.
Yeah.
How?
Still,
how? Because they don't have they don't have Google data. You have to have Google data enabled. Like, so like if you have like an Android phone, I think you're very likely to be picked up on it. But if you have an Apple phone, you'd have to been opt into like the Google tracking kind of stuff, and certainly not everybody does that.
Right. Well, Haran was a FBI agent.
Or you might have a flip phone like Ron Logan. That might be invisible to a geofence. Like there's no like you got to have the smart data on your phone to begin with. And people don't know this. You go to Office Tavern, like you'll notice something really weird about Delphi is like a ton of people run around with walkie-talkies. They don't even use their cell phones. It's kind of strange. Yeah, it's
Pardon?
Swear to God.
You mean like ham radio?
No, I mean they're just walkie-talkies. They're like long-range walkie-talkies.
I got so into.
I mean, if that's all you need running around town and you're not going anywhere, like, I mean, why pay a cell phone bill?
Because it's good to have a cell phone in 2024. I don't know.
Well, sure, but
or check my Instagram from ham radio.
Like considerations. Not everybody can just afford to pay a cell phone. It would be hard. I mean, once you got your walkie-talkie, it's free. You just need to chit chat with your couple buddies and your family, like. You're not going out of town.
I don't know. I got so into ham radio Not personally, but
I got
know.
so into ham radio, but not personally.
Oh my God. I was like, I learned a lot about ham radio in like 2020. When did I first start? Like 2021, when I first started looking into this case, and I was doing like you find out all kinds of weird shit about like communities when you start doing like deep dive like community evals. It's kind of weird.
We got a radio expert here.
They have a lot of ham radio operators in Carroll County. That's all I'll say about it. The end. Also, fun fact, did you know that the operating, like where one operates their ham radio, their little ham radio station is called a shack?
Oh, damn. No, I did not know that.
Now you know.
Now it's all coming together.
Right?
What's the significance of the shack? That was an accident. I wasn't even trying to do that one.
So Walla's in some deep shit.
Walla's in some deep shit. Over. Record 19. Walla's going down.
She's in some deep shit. You know what?
I mean, it sounds like she got some investigation going on her.
I'm not gonna lose a fucking wink of sleep over that.
So it's almost like her employer was like, "You did what?"
Right.
What? You did what? Yeah, sounds like it's not good. I've been in the Lacey Peterson hole.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was reading that comment. I'm sorry. Did you not want me to read that out loud?
Please do.
I've been in Lacey Peterson hole. That's Scott Peterson's wife that passed away tragically.
Right.
The last few days, and she and Scott had a restaurant called The Shack 2.
Oh.
Was it The Shack number 2 or The Shack as well?
You know what we call that is tentacles.
We call that a nexus.
Nexus tentacles. Someone should write a book called The Shack.
It's a great idea, Fiend.
What about a Christian movie?
Sure.
About a man finding God.
What about
great idea?
A Christian book called The Shack about a serial killer and a father's search for justice.
Is that really what that bullshit's about, huh?
It's pretty I would say it's
Have you read it?
I have read it.
Okay. I've been on Reddit.
I have not.
I've read it, and I've also been on Reddit, and I've read about it on Reddit, but I have also read it. I don't.
Wait, is that why they call it Reddit?
Oh. I don't know.
I think that's a nexus.
It could be. It was not my favorite book. I'm sure that some people like it.
Kelt.
Hi,
Yeah,
Keith
Doug,
Kellogg.
Carter.
Always love to see you. Hate to see you leave. Love to watch you go.
Doug Carter doesn't strike me as a fan of great literature.
No, but he does strike me as a fan of bad literature.
Exactly.
So, of course, he's read The Shack. No offense. It's very depressing. Oh, wait, never mind. Oh, who's your, actually, carry on.
Oh, it sounded like you were going to disclose something important right there, and then you're like,
no, but Hoosier
better.
ordered a book today, and I was gonna see if.
Oh, yeah. I saw that some other people figured that out. I literally like Googled David Schilling, Indiana, and I was like, I don't know, and then I just put in like, you know what? Delete Indiana, David Schilling, Norse, and this immediately pops up. Like it took me like 30 seconds to Google that guy. I was just like, hey, there you go, Norse. Like that'll always work for Delphi. It's always the damn Odinites.
We found some weird historic. I found some weird Odinite Asatru folk assembly shit yesterday. I was in a really dark hole yesterday.
Oh, the body stuff? The bones?
The bones. They were like, we want in on these bones.
Yeah, that's
stupid.
Fucking weirdos.
Talk about is there anybody less likable than a white supremacist in charge of a, pardon me, newly established religion? Like, go away.
Dude, and this is one of the things that I find like super annoying, where people are like, "Oh, this is a religion that's been practiced for like it's an ancient religion practiced for thousands of years." Like, no, the fuck, it is not. It's
I think
like it's completely
No fucking way.
like drivel that came from like basically the prison system. I mean, it's brand new.
It's not
I
even
mean,
real.
brand new in relatively. It's like,
well, I think a lot of it's just like guards and shit trying to get out of COVID vaccine mandates.
Yeah, pretty much.
oh, they want to wear beards in the military. Like it's like they just want to cosplay their Viking shit. Like,
They're LARPing, dude. Let them LARP.
right, LARPers.
Norse, Germanic runes and symbols.
Like, you can believe that that's what the Vikings used to do, but I guarantee you, no, the fuck they didn't. You just made it all up. But you're allowed to believe whatever you want. It's America, as long as you're not
But
committing crimes.
I have very little patience for racists. Like, I feel like if racism is part of your religion, that your religion, I have no use for it, and I'm definitely not gonna respect its existence. I think it's fucking stupid. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it's almost like they kind of just backwards engineered this whole religion just to pigeonhole their.
It's
they're all things they already believed, which were like, hey, we're a bunch of shitbags. Let's make up a religion that makes it like justifies it.
Yeah, they're just a fucking bunch of losers who want to be part of a gang, and they're hiding their gang activity beneath the title of religion. And it's like, okay, well, people have been trying to do that forever. It's just the prison system's fucking stupid. They let them get away with it because it benefits them institutionally.
There's a narrative that, like, oh, it's just like every other religion, but it's not. It's literally not, because in every other religion, like, you'll have the basis is like has noble intent. There's good intention behind the whole religion, like, and then you've got like, a fraction of radicals and violent, not good people. But like in this thing, you've got the exact opposite situation. Sure, there's some people that are like, this sounds cool, but you know what? I'm not a racist, so I'm not going to really accept that part. But like, that's not how it was created. It was created the opposite way, where it was like, it was intended to have all these like racist elements, and then you got a much higher proportion of people that like are the radicals in Odinism generally than you do in any other religion. That's just much, much higher.
DB, can you take this please, this thing down? I don't think I can take it down on my end.
You don't like it?
I'm kind of tired of looking at it. I mean, you can keep it up if you really want to.
I just wanted to read it real quick. It says how jails can implement low cost and no cost intelligence practices to proactively assist investigations, solve crimes, and enhance jail safety and security.
That's so fucked.
J. Schilling.
I didn't even read that.
It's really weird that like
that's fucked.
These are the two specialties this guy has.
Hi, Hoosiers.
Oh, Hoosiers here.
A real sausage fest up in here now.
Oh my god, look at my friends. They're all so good looking. How are we doing?
Oh, thank you, everybody.
What do you think happened today, Hoosier? What the fuck? You're muted, my friend.
There we go. Hi. All this sausage discussion. What do I think happened today? Secret police shit. We're not allowed to know. But I found it, there was that picture of Rick leaving with a smile on his face. Like, very interesting. But apparently Rosie said nothing as his comment for what happened today. So
I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
I find Rosie's a straight shooter a lot of the time. Like, if he says nothing happened, I generally lean towards listening to the guy. So, I mean, it wasn't very long. It was like 35 minutes, probably Probably.
I imagine it was
probably cut
unproductive.
a couple minutes off the front and back of that, so you probably got half an hour. Like they couldn't have gotten that much done.
HCC, are you drinking creek water?
I am, yes.
Oh wow, matches the shirt. I like it.
Purple, my black shirt.
Oh, it looks black. Okay, never mind.
Oh, it's Crystal Light. So I'm doing intermittent fasting. God, I'm gonna bore you guys to death. So keto with intermittent fasting, and so I can't do any calories. So I found this Crystal Light stuff, and I just chug water for 8 hours.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're drinking.
I think I'm gonna do
drink.
a Deagle.
Hell yeah, I am.
I thought maybe the iron content was just high in that water.
That's a lot of iron. I would be concerned. Yeah, secret police shit. Well, so if he comes out of a 37-minute hearing and says nothing happened, the way I interpret that is that it's unproductive. Probably, right? Like,
I think so. That would probably be safe to.
Like, people are still being fucking difficult, is how I perceive it. Nick
And then
probably
Tobe waddled out and was like, "Get out of here, folks."
Yeah. He was like, what's with police in Carroll County yelling at their constituents to shut up?
He's like the penguin. He's
like the penguin.
How dare there be people in public?
How dare you attend a public hearing? How dare you nosy interlopers?
Even though they got everything wrong, even the decorum was like wrong. And then when people got there, they're like, "You can't have cell phones."
Yeah, they did that last time too.
They did it. Yeah, they're not like if they made a big deal about like they made an error last time. They told everybody they could bring their cell phones with them and just make sure they're turned off. And then they got into the hearings and were like, "Just kidding, that was a mistake. Like your cell phones can't be in here." And they're like, "Well, we've already got them." So they like
get your shit.
So
put it all
gather them
together
all up and lock them into a car. Not like anybody in the court, just a random person. And then they did it again for this one, and we're like, "What are you doing?"
It's like their way of like getting everybody's cell phone data like at one time.
They've got a geofence on the courthouse.
Okay, I am certain that one of the three of you, probably all three of you, know the answer to this. But so about before the Carroll County Comet was purchased, so this is probably like 9 or 10 months ago. Debla was still attending the meetings regularly. And those meetings were held upstairs. At least some of them are held upstairs in the courthouse. So Deb would bring her iPad and she would just set her iPad up and record all the meetings on her iPad. She'd been doing that for years. And all of a sudden, her iPad stopped working. She couldn't use her iPad in the building or her cell phone. And she asked Anita Whirling, who's the mayor, because she was like there. So Anita Whirling, allegedly, I don't want to get clapped, and the new police chief, whose name I can't remember, but he's whatever, a young guy. Apparently they like put something in the building so that like you can't. Is that a thing? It'll like block your electronics.
Yeah. They're illegal.
A jammer.
Yeah, a jammer, I guess is what they call it. Why would you do that?
I think it's a thing, but that sounds strange that they would use it in that.
They're using it.
Maybe a citizen should also use one and set it in a bush somewhere, maybe.
I would not recommend that anybody actually do that. Follow the laws.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah,
don't. What are you scared of?
We can't officially recommend that. However, we can't stop you if it's something that you want to try. Yeah, that's very interesting. So, yeah.
Well, that seems very illegal for some reason, but sure.
They're preparing, I imagine that when you want to do something illegal as a law enforcement officer or entity, you could probably make an argument for exigent circumstances when there are none, like, pinging a cell phone or setting up a jammer in a building where you're anticipating a very high profile trial happening. I don't know.
They just have like a flipper zero. They just fit back there.
Oh my God. The gate goes up and then the gate goes down. And the gate goes up. Only nerds will get that joke, I think.
That's interesting. So public schools use them. When she left, the file's gone. So she was able to. I'm trying to think how she explained it to me. Because I remember I reached out to somebody and asked them, and I don't know if this was like a time limited practice or what, but they were definitely doing it for, which is weird. I don't know. That has nothing to do with anything today, but I do think it's interesting that they're like taking all of these measures to they're arresting people, or not arresting people, giving people tickets, towing cars. Like, what are we doing, guys?
They've been doing the traffic thing for a while now. It's been like for over a year now that they've just
they've been going crazy.
It's called a stimulus plan.
Yeah, true.
I think it essentially is. I don't know what made them initiate doing that, but once they started getting all that money, I think they were like, hey, you know what's a good idea? Let's just keep doing this.
I mean, they just do whatever they want, right? So we know that.
Well, I mean, I think people should follow traffic laws. I just think it's odd that you would but
there's a difference between following traffic laws and setting people up to ticket them, having no parking.
Actually, yeah, they've got a whole bus arm violation and entrapment scheme going.
We got a couple mil to make up for. So
well, I mean, that's what I was wondering. Can you even I don't know, can you make that work where the money you're getting from the traffic citations is gonna supplement your budget losses from this? Maybe, I guess you could.
Do we ever get to see what DB looks like?
I'm right here, baby.
Somebody's seen what he looks like.
Has Ange ever seen?
Who? I don't know.
No. That's fascinating. Well, good for you. Don't fuck up and show yourself.
Oh, dude, trust me. I mean, I didn't get it this far. I'm really ugly, so I just don't want people to.
That's fair.
Stop listening to me.
I thought DB used to be on some other channels before, where he's on camera sometimes. No.
Really?
DB, read this comment.
Okay, here we go. Comment made by Nobody Nothing 1717. They have Stingray too. My buddy installed it. They do have. Ooh. I'm not going to say for sure they have a Stingray, but they did pay $300,000 to this company that only manufactures Stingrays, and they are about $150,000 each. So mathematically, I think it could leave. If they saved up, they could get two of them. If they want to buy some extras with it too.
They take advantage of a flaw in downgrading network signal. So your phone connects to it, it downgrades you to 2G, and it basically exploits that and gets all your data.
Hold up, what's a Stingray? So it's just something that does this?
Yeah.
So it's not just
technology.
Rest in peace, Steve Irwin, but they have machines now that so what HTC is saying is, my understanding is, it's basically a cell phone tower. It's a mobile cell phone tower.
Yeah.
And it intercepts the cell phone devices that it's allowed to put through, connect to it. It downgrades it to 2G, meaning that you can't use it online, or it has limited network capability. But they use them primarily for intelligence or fugitive cases. The U.S. Marshals have a ton of them, and they have a completely different mission than a sheriff's department would. A sheriff's department's, in charge of the court, in charge of, or protecting the court. I'm sorry, in charge of the jail system, and doing patrol where there's no local or city or municipal police force. They are not supposed to really use some type of a Stingray, because U.S. Marshals' primary goal is to bring fugitives to justice, people who have been charged with crimes and that are on the lam and running. So
They
really
can go up to about 300 meters with a special booster.
yeah.
Skip. Hi, Skippy.
Yeah.
Miss you.
Up, Skip.
Haven't seen Skippy in a long time. Nice to see you, friend. Missy Beavers. What would they have used it in Missy's case then for?
That's interesting. They use that in Mississippi. Not sure.
They probably just look for any excuse to use it and then just like whip it out because they're like, hey, we've got this thing.
Oh, it's a fun toy. They can literally just listen in on your calls and shit.
Perfect.
Watch all the data crossing your phone. I mean,
Yeah.
of course.
Royal said something important. You never take your cell phone to a protest, FYI.
Yep.
Which is
That's how they got all the January 6th people. They just dropped the geofence over the whole. They dropped.
Dude, who was it? Was it you, DB?
Capitol. And they're like, it's all those people. They just.
It was not a January 6th. If that's what you're asking.
I know. I didn't. I halfway through that.
Or was I?
I don't know, but you did. Remember, you showed me that that visual of all the. It was like a GIF, or maybe it was Courtney. Somebody showed me like a.
Oh, of all the
cell
devices
phones,
moving around
inside the buildings and shit. How like accurate they were.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to talk about that.
Well, whatever. I did a lot more than that with never mind. So US Marshals used Stingrays somewhere in this Delphi story. I remember some debate around the difference between them. Yeah, I don't. The cell phone stuff, like my eyes glaze over. It just feels like there's so much subjective interpretation of it, especially when people who don't really know it, like are not experts, start talking about it. I just like. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you gotta have the starting point is like you actually have to have the data and the reports as the starting point. Like, if you're just speculating on what there may or may not exist, it literally can be anything.
Right.
So that's not helpful. But I mean, I don't think it's. I mean, you saw in Karen Reed where there was some disagreement among experts, but. There does seem to be that there's like probably a correct answer one way or another on most of these things, even if they're not completely sure what that answer is.
Yeah.
Well, to give you guys some more context about a recent case that involves a stinger. Oh, Nobody Nothing says something else important here too that I'm about to talk about. So, Nobody Nothing says they have it in a van. It was ran by Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was running the fucking stinger, dude. So that's advanced. Not the Prez. If it was ran by, I can't remember if it was Department of Homeland Security or FEMA, but they all share it around here. Yeah. So in the Idaho 4 case, there was a quote unquote $1 million van that was delivered from outside of Idaho. I think from DC. That had a stinger, an IMSI catcher, and they were using it to reverse engineer Brian Koberger's route that he took, and that's illegal. And because it's like a reverse pen register, which is more of an intelligence tool, or like finding somebody who's on the run, or finding who somebody is that's committed the crime. So the way that the cell tower pinging stuff works that we've all read about and talked about ad nauseum on this case. Like they were looking at the cell phone tower connections from a van, like a mobile tower, and they were driving around and trying to get their cell phones to bounce into that tower or off that tower to go to another tower to like find the handoff points. And so they're used sometimes nefariously to reverse engineer cell site analysis, and it can create real problems in a case. I don't think that's what they did here at all,
Right.
but it's very strange.
Right, because then your evidence collection's shady and it's illegal and it's.
Yeah, if you're not disclosing
so
it.
what about that makes it illegal? Like, because like I get where if you're like geofencing seems really sketch when you like include people that are totally not part of anything and you get some of their information. Like if you're just like recreating something, driving around, like that, how is that infringing on anybody in particular?
Well, so what it can do is in the process, it can intercept like and download contents of your phone. It does a GSM active.
Well, that part, yeah, I think
it does a GSM
crazy.
active key extraction to obtain the target device's stored encryption key. Uses the download identifying information to simulate the target device over the air. While simulating the target device, establish a connection with a legitimate cell site authorized to provide service to the target device. Use the encryption key to authenticate the Stingray to the service provider as being the target device, and forward signals between the target device and the legitimate cell site while decrypting and recording communications content.
And so
for
if
covert,
you're putting it
have to
in the
plug
search
in
warrant,
information.
so in that search warrant, they said that they didn't know where he was, right? But there was a surveillance unit already on him. So if the search warrant said that they were using it to find his location, but there was already a team that knew where he was, they lied to get the search warrant
Gotcha.
because they were using it to try to locate him. And the information that they got, like HCC is talking about, when they're decrypting your IMSI, which is like your unique identifier that's more specific than IMEI or your MEID. It's your decrypted user identification number that would show up over the airways. And so you're able to get, way more information, and you're saying that you don't know where they are, and he's a fugitive from justice, but you don't even, but they already knew where he was. So it's stuff like that where they use it, and there was a federal grand jury. It's how they got that the ability to use that. Federal grand juries are sealed. They didn't end up indicting him federally. So that's some things that they can use it for. There's an interesting article recently about parallel investigations federally and through the state, and you have somebody like Special Agent Herens who is on this case. They're going to be using a lot of this CAS data. They may have used the Stingray for certain things to simulate somebody's IMSI, and they're not going to be able to cross-examine it because it could be protected, and there could be a barrier of the TUI process, the TUI Rodriguez, or in the TUI versus United States case law that doesn't allow you to subpoena the federal government. So it is interesting that Horan's like even testifying, but he is retired. I don't know if that helps at all, but it's just a lot of weird shit going on with this. And like, have you guys seen the geofence warrant? Like, does it exist? Did they do a geofence?
You talking about Idaho still?
No, I'm talking about
Delphi?
this case, Delphi.
I mean, we've not seen it. We've heard it used, like the term geofence has been used, but there's never been anything like publicly, at least, to suggest that that's even the right terminology for what they're like. I have no idea.
Well, there was some discussion of GPS, so you kind of like inferred that there was some geofencing at some point, but yeah, I don't think anybody's real clear on understanding what actually has happened thus far.
So in 2014, this says in 2014, police in Florida revealed that they had used Stingray at least 200 times since 2010 without disclosing it to the courts or obtaining a warrant.
Oopsie.
Yeah, the marshal's been fucking around with Stingray for a while. I can't remember.
And they get grants from our government for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the thing that Andrew talked about the other day with the witching sticks, when you have, these copper rods that they're like finding bodies with and shit, it's like, what are they really using to find these bodies? Because I don't believe there's been a double-blind clinical, scientific study of witching sticks. So is somebody giving them a tip and then they're just not disclosing the tip? Do they have a confidential informant that's telling them, and then they don't have to say because it's confidential that and they're not going to use that person's testimony at trial? But they say, oh, it's exculpatory, or it's not exculpatory. We used a witching stick to find the body.
Right. So strange.
So stupid. Why do they just lie? They just lie.
Wanda.
So this Coburg thing, so that almost sounds like it falls in the category of like a Frank's, like.
Yeah, they're preparing one. That's the
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like they should.
And I know that a lot of people, he's used as a bar a lot of times about the PCA. But I'm telling you, if you guys, a lot of you are interested in this stuff, if you just look into that case a little bit, it's fucking bizarre. A lot of this stuff with the federal grand jury and stuff going on is really crazy. I'm really interested to Skip is talking about Missy Beavers a lot. I have been obsessing over that case
For a
quite a
while.
bit,
Dude, that
a
case.
long time.
How has no one recognized that person?
What does that sound like?
I know,
But still, I mean, yeah.
but yeah, I mean they are wearing full tactical gear. You can't just, there's there's like a EMS supply store, cop supply store here in town. Can't you go back in records or subpoena Amazon or something? Like they didn't just order a full suit, of tactical gear. Maybe at a gun show, that's entirely possible with cash.
I mean, there's probably a whole bunch more people that buy that shit than you would expect. Just like there's a whole bunch of people that buy literally everything on Amazon.
Well, it could be a costume. They could have got it as it doesn't appear that way, but it's just so hard to tell to any degree of specificity that it's like some type of actual tactical gear.
Right. Halloween costumes, man.
Yeah. Is it a
You
fucking
can
brown
rent
hat?
really accurate ones, yeah.
Especially like the footage is not. It's not like it's like super clear.
It's much.
Yeah, I would
clearer
love
than
to
Bridge Guy,
show some clips of the footage. But just kidding, I have it here. So this is the case we're talking about, everybody. If you're not familiar, it's a person that was walking around a church.
What the fuck is that? It's like annoying to me that.
But is it sort of like the Delphi case where this is the Bridge Guy?
Yeah.
But we don't
It is
know.
exactly
we
like
don't know
that.
this guy actually has anything to do with the crime. He's just
Is it a guy?
guy that's on camera.
This person.
Is it a guy?
Well, it could be a woman, yeah.
Some people think.
So in the first image, it looks like a woman.
Cleveland.
Some people think it's a woman. Some people think it's a pirate with one leg that has a prosthetic leg.
True.
With a drag leg. Some people
think
think they got a drop foot.
I think it's an animatronic.
Man, it's always somebody with a fucking limp, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
it was
that sounds a little bit ableist to me. I don't know.
if you measure the tiles and you divide by pi, and you can figure out.
I mean, isn't the
Shouldn't you be able
husband
to
a
do that?
suspect?
What was that?
I mean, this seems like something you could figure out with math even easier than the.
Of course, you can
the
figure it
Bridge
out
Guy
with
one.
math.
Because you know the exact height of the camera, and you do know the exact height of the exact size of those tiles. I mean,
well, what you can't tell me is what the actual truth is because you're a conspiracy theorist.
Look, the standard height of a door is 80 inches.
Not my doors. I got tall doors, dude, because I'm tall.
Well, they also know what doors those are. Just get a tape measure out and fucking measure the door.
Exactly.
That's a good question, Scott.
On that board, yeah.
So I got a question for you guys about this case then, because HC, I think you just said wasn't her husband suspected at one point?
Yes.
So there's a thought that kind of a thought exercise in this case that I think really exudes a problem a lot of the time with true crime. And the question is, he has an alibi, the husband, right?
Yeah, but isn't it?
And people think
shady?
people will say, isn't it too good of an alibi? Because he was out of town those exact days.
People don't say that about Brad Holder and his not good alibi. They don't say that's too good of an alibi.
Well,
maybe
so
they should start saying it. Maybe it's too good of an alibi.
What they will use in this case is they believe the alibi is so good that the only reason somebody could have that good of an alibi is if they planned to murder their spouse.
So you can't win.
Yeah, so you would be. I mean, what you have to think about is what my theory is. If the opposite of my theory is true, does it make the person more guilty? If that is yes, then you can't use what you're thinking about as evidence of guilt.
Well, that almost makes no alibi equivalent to a good alibi, to equivalent to a bad alibi, to equivalent of a perfect alibi.
Yeah, sure, dude.
They're almost all the same then.
Was there any forensic evidence? I mean,
I don't know enough about this case, but don't you, DB? Don't you know?
They saw the
Yes.
vehicle on video. They have clear image of the truck.
It was a car. And
okay.
It was actually at a different building. So this is like the middle of the night, right? And there was a building
Early
probably
morning, yeah.
Yeah, early morning. So it was like 4 or 5 a.m. And so they were at this gun store, which makes it another interesting thing. They were at a giant gun store, kind of like an outdoor equipment store, like a Cabela's for those of you in the Midwest. And they were just kind of roaming around the parking lot. It was storming out. And they were roaming around the parking lot at this other place. And then they eventually worked their way over after about 10 minutes and then broke into this church. Nobody was there. And then I think 30 minutes into them walking around.
Well, and it's
stealing
weird that way they were just walking around roaming. It was very strange behavior.
It's fucking insane. See, I'm myself
nothing was taken.
Scaredy cat. Well, they didn't take anything, but if you watch the clips, they were walking around with something, and the husband says that it was a plastic bin with stuff in it, but it was like stupid shit. It was like a hammer, odds and ends that they found that maybe they thought could be valuable. Just random shit. They were probably looking for cash. But
Maybe he was hiding Easter eggs.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, what was she? Wasn't she killed with a hammer? Am I remembering that correctly?
They actually have not released the cause of death, other than it's really weird how they worded that. I think they said penetrated something where it kind of sounds like they were talking about a knife, but the husband and one of the main journalists that covered this case said that she was killed with a gun. She was shot.
Oh.
What?
And the main theory is that she came in, was getting ready for this warrior class, this kind of yoga hit class, and that she hosted with these boot camper people, that she probably stumbled upon this person, and they were scared and they got into a brief tussle, and there was a hammer, and so some people think that they used the hammer briefly, but ultimately she was shot with a gun is what they were
like. What would have been the motive? Just because she was there and wasn't supposed to be? But why would you go in full tactical gear like this at 4 something in the morning and just weirdly wander around the church halls?
I can answer that question.
Drugs? What do you think, Fiend? They're high?
Well, I don't know about a whole bunch about this case, but I've seen this before. So here's my theory.
All right.
That guy's Bob. All the cops know that's Bob. Bob's weird, but like he's probably not involved in anything, and they just don't want Bob to get any smoke, so they're just gonna like not mention that it's Bob. Like,
why are they protecting Bob?
Well, because he didn't do anything wrong.
Let him pop off, Angela.
He's a local.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he just likes to. He's a cop, and he just likes to creep around places because like he gets a kick out of it. Like, so the question I got for you is, it like you said, this is a very realistic. Is there any difference between what this guy is wearing and what the cops like actually have issued to them? Like, is there a reason to believe this isn't actually a cop?
Those helmets are very expensive.
Well, I'm just saying, it says police on there. Yeah, exactly. So, like, guess who might be dressed like this? Like, the simplest explanation might just be like, that's a cop.
Gray Hughes did zoom in on the badge number. He thinks it's Richard Allen.
Of course.
Of course.
Obviously.
Actually,
yeah,
I was gonna say like Bob sounds a little bit more like Bridge Guy because like what they told us was like, hey, we know who Bridge Guy is and he's been cleared and he's not involved, and now we think it's this guy.
Well, this guy does have a funny walk a little bit.
I mean, well, I'm saying it could be Bridge Guy. It could be Bridge Guy. It could be the same guy. Why not?
I don't see
but we don't know who that is, except
I don't see the bulge of an ankle holster, though. Ankle holsters are awful.
Yeah,
they flap around on your ankle, and it's kind of horrible. But
don't love that.
I mean, It could be. I mean,
how does the ankle holster play in?
Skip said
might
he has
have
a limb because he's carrying his firearm in an ankle holster.
Yeah.
And I don't see like in that third one there from the left. I don't know. It's possible.
I bet it's exactly the same. It's not even a photo or a video.
They do
They're
like slap against your ankle
video again, because these
They look-
frames from a video are so good.
They look goofy. Look at how they're like duck-footed in the third picture. This doesn't look like someone who wears that regularly. Like,
I mean,
they just look goofy.
I don't know.
To me.
I think it's hard to like speculate on. Does somebody look goofy? Like, a lot of cops are goofy.
That's true. That's a great. You know what, Fiend? That's a great point. A lot of cops are goofy.
That's a stupid fucking point, dude.
No, I don't know. Maybe that's Jerry Holman.
Oh, we would know if it was Jerry Holman.
Yeah, I would know. I wouldn't know that.
He'd be the height of the door handle.
See this right here? This is what people say. Look at his club foot. This is a fake foot. It never turns.
This is what I'm looking at. It looks like he's wearing fucking ski boots.
Skip is just dying. He's like, these fucking people getting this shit all wrong.
Maybe he's looking for donuts.
Wait, can you play this over? That looks like a woman.
I mean, I
know.
People say it's a woman.
That's a woman
I would
walking.
for sure be looking for them.
This is the first time I'm ever watching this, by the way.
Yeah, and
It's a
Fiend is
woman.
not familiar with female body structure.
Why? No, don't.
You leave
I'm
Fiend
plenty
alone,
familiar with female structure.
Oh my god, we
Look
have
at
another
you,
Antifa
buddy.
member in here.
Yes, it's an Antifa
Ooh.
party. My God. Hello, all eyes.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
beautiful.
Am
Team
I?
Antifa
Is this
for the-
thing working? Okay,
It's on. It's working beautifully. Hello.
comrades.
Hello, comrade. Man or woman? Look at how he's walking his
I
feet out
think
like
a
that.
man.
Oh my
but,
god,
like,
what's in
I
here?
can see where people think it's a woman, like in
Double
some ways,
door.
but I think it's a dude. I think.
Maybe he's just gay.
Okay,
Maybe.
bro.
We can't cross these kind of lines here.
Well, but so, like, okay. ELI5, ELI, brand new to Missy Beavers. This person,
This is a murderer.
right? Well, is it? This person definitely is a person that killed her, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe they have some holdback footage of the person
ins-
fleeing.
Yeah. What are they doing?
Like, look how they swing a hammer. That's weird.
Yep.
What?
Would you say
What?
that's a girl swinging a hammer?
They look inebriated. They look
They
kind
look
of like
inebriated.
a little bit.
They look like someone is not expecting anybody to be there.
Yeah. What are they trying to do? Just break into rooms?
Maybe they were mad at the church and like they were afraid of getting caught, so that's why she was killed. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he is drunk and pissed off. I don't know.
I
So
do
what are
think
they
he was trying to rob the place. I mean, back when this happened, I used to, on my way to work,
What
drive
is in
back
there?
and forth to this place. Like, you can see the parking lot from the highway. You can see the cars in the parking lot across the highway where he was caught on camera. Like, it's so strange. This whole thing, everything about it is strange. I feel like all of us will be looking for that car for like anybody who has family in that area will never stop looking for that car. But
Yeah.
I do think if that person was from, I don't think Missy was from that city, but she's in one of the little local areas around there. But this dude would have been hogtied and ready for the cops like if anybody knew him, people would know. Like, I live further out than this, but we know if that was my husband on camera, I'd know it. If that was your husband on camera, I would know it. Like, they're all on, like, we know what they look like in hunting gear, covered from head to toe.
Well, wait,
Like,
didn't people say this about Bridge Guy too? Oh, you would know this if it was your husband.
yeah,
right?
that's
They
why I
did.
do. That's
But they
one of
didn't. We know they didn't for Bridge Guy. No, nobody knew who that was.
it's one of the best analogies I have for it is if you've ever, like, if you know twins, like, if you don't know
The
them very
movie
well,
Twins?
you might think if you see one or
Oh
the
no,
other, you might have a hard
I thought you
time
meant
telling them
Arnold
apart.
Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
Right.
No,
That makes sense, Alice.
if you know those, like, if you know the twins, once you're their teacher and you've spent enough time with them, you don't have to see them together to tell them apart. Like, you can tell when they're from the back of their head which one of the twins they
Yeah.
are. Like, when you know someone, you're able to recognize them,
Right.
even if
looks
they
like a
look like someone
Honda
else. Like, if they look like someone else,
Civic
you'll
or
be able to tell.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the car. Like,
This is
if
them
I knew
leaving.
anybody with that car, I would have, like, anybody who
This is the gun store.
No.
Oh, all eyes.
She'll be back.
This is the gun store. This is before the church. It's back already.
there's no way nobody would have not called if he was from, I mean, this was so creepy. And when they released the footage, I'm still haunted by that footage. Like, it's so eerie and creepy. Nobody's gonna be playing house with this person.
This is him
Or her.
or
Or
Leaving the
her.
gun store. This is them leaving the gun store. So later, they then go to the church. They're
And
kind of
back
casing this.
during this time when it happened, the church and the SWFA were like the only two things that have been, like, this area is more developed now. The last time I went to visit my aunt, there was a whole bunch of stuff that they built up around the area, but back then there was like two things and they're all lit up. You can see the lights in the park, like, it's lit up. If anybody drove by, they would have probably more likely seen at the gun store, but at the church you can see from a distance the parking lot, but you might not be able to see the car specifically if they parked in the back or the side.
This is the church.
But that, I think, is the
No.
I think that's the gun store.
There's no footage from outside of the church.
Okay.
So all eyes,
I mean,
let me ask you this. Is the
like
footage...
a lot to go off of. Like a lot.
Okay, I'll ask you this, Fiend. Is the footage better of Bridge Guy or this person?
No, all this footage is like a million times better.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I think
okay,
so.
is the footage better
Well, I mean,
or the
no,
identifiability
it's not like we haven't seen any footage of Bridge Guy. Like, to be real, like, we haven't even seen it.
I haven't even seen a video of him. Is that video real?
Video. I mean, a video is real, but we haven't seen that video. What we've seen together is like stitched together frames, like, and not very many of them.
1.5 seconds of a cropped video.
Right.
Right. I mean, there's individual frames that are just like slideshow. It's not that is not a video. Those are, and they're not photographs.
You really think it's slideshow frames?
Hmm. Oh yeah, it's part of the. I don't know. I mean, I think that. I think they've been stabilized. I think they've been like. I think you got some really, really shaky video, and it was near useless. And you know they've stitched together by like rotating it enough to kind of put together, you know, what appears to be like. I mean, essentially, it's essentially a fucking GIF. You know, like, I mean, it's not a video.
I thought it was for a minute I thought maybe it was like a live photo.
That's an idea that maybe. I mean,
well, it's not, but
I know, but like that's a good idea because like it'd be more like that. That's closer to what it actually is. But it's not quite that because even.
I know that the full video would
down.
probably be played, and there's nothing like.
I don't know that we know that the full video is going to be played.
This man didn't even notice.
What happened? I missed
It'll
it.
be fascinating to learn the sequence of the guys, the down the hill, and the full video.
Yeah.
You mean like a timeline?
Oh yeah, they could have easily given us a little bit more information and made this a lot more clear.
Especially with Burston's comments about only being able to see, you know, in the field of view of the camera.
Mm-hmm. Well, for
Oh,
years
remember
they
that?
didn't even know if that was the same person on audio. Like they
Right.
actually did not know. And the only reason they said this was the suspect is because just by, like, in their mind, they don't have any proof that he actually even interacted with them. They just believe that simply because they didn't identify him and he didn't come forward, then by default he's the suspect, and did have, like, there's a lot of assumptions. It's not a bad one. It's just that they don't actually know that. And that is a distinction that it's just a fact. I don't think you need special training to know that this dude should be looked at, obviously, but the way the evidence they have is, it's a circumstantial judgment. Like, they don't actually know, like, other than that audio, they don't actually know that the audio was of him speaking to them. They just know that audio was on the phone and they have that video. I don't think they're actually to get, like, on the same.
Do you
I mean,
remember
he
when
might be, but
Do you remember when Alexis McAdams said she shot it over her shoulder? It was like the second
Yeah.
day or third day after
could
the
see that.
murders.
yeah.
She could
That
have
would
just like
explain-
dropped it to her side and it recorded for a little bit, and there's not really much video.
Well, I think that somebody that maybe is a little bit creeped out, they would not want to make it look like they're actually filming somebody directly. And so they were maybe acting like they were taking a selfie video or a selfie picture and just caught them in the background. And I think that would explain why it's such a poor photo or such a poor video, is because they actually cropped it. They cropped the person out
Yeah.
of it. And the ISP officer says, you don't see what's going on over here. And one of those over here's could be, somebody that was actually taking the selfie video.
Okay, but Bridge Guy also looks like he doesn't see anybody over here or over there. That's another thing that I always, like, he does not appear to me to be looking at or for anyone. He doesn't look like he sees anything.
Well, you got to remember that the bridge is in disrepair, and you need to be looking down at your feet.
I know, but he takes a couple steps and he's not. Do you see what I mean, though? Like, he doesn't look.
I'm parroting the stupid thing that they say.
I know.
I've walked across the bridge. You don't have to be like doing that. You could just be.
I did not do that.
Did you boot All Eyes?
I did not boot All Eyes.
I booted All
Even
Eyes.
knowing
There she
that,
is.
they still. He does not look like he's walking anywhere with a purpose. He looks like he's just doing the same thing everybody else did that day on the bridge. And that's one of the things that I think about a lot, because it's a video of a man crossing the bridge, and there's about 1,000 of those on YouTube. Like,
Holman,
I don't know. I feel like I got to see the video because I just don't know what to think about anything anymore.
Well, Holman at CrimeCon said that they have Bridge Guy on Deer Cam as well.
Yeah, in the early days, everybody was saying that. I think it was RTV6. They did a live stream, and some reporter said something kind of like the Alexis McAdams. It was something along the same lines. And if you watch the replay, all the people are like, "Did he just say trail cam? Did he just?" And then other people later on are saying, "Did he just say iCloud account?" And then the dude all of a sudden gets pulled off the stream halfway through, and it's like there's a lot of confusion about all of that. And I don't know if that was LE trying to, like, play mind games. Like, we don't want to let him know where it actually came from because they hadn't told anybody yet. But there was a lot of back and forth about whether or not this video came from the phone itself, or from the iCloud account, or from a trail cam. And they've been real sneaky about it ever since. Like, they haven't cleared any of that up, except for they're saying the audio and the video came from her phone, but they never addressed any of the official reports about officials kind of not confirming it, but heavily insinuating it. I don't know.
Hey, sorry, Ange, we have too many people on.
There was people who watched the RTV6 helicopter footage live said that anything we see these days has stuff cut out of it. Like, they actually flew over the crime scene.
Oh yeah, well, there's a part where the helicopter.
I've seen a lot of that too, because I watched so much footage from the early days and went through all of the media reports on their regular website and the Facebook posts of the same articles because I was just trying to read through where everybody was at, like mentally, what they were thinking, what they were asking questions about. Like the first day it happened, the day after they found the girl, like I was just going day by day to try to see what was in the ether, I guess. But there was a lot of stuff that people were posting screenshots of in those days in posts saying this was deleted yesterday, but like they had taken a screenshot, so they posted it somewhere else. And so the only way to really even find any of the stuff that was cut out is if somebody happened to screen grab it and post it somewhere else. And so there's a little bit more of that information out there, but I don't think anybody will ever find unless they got it in real time, like from start to finish, there's no telling how much was cut out or deleted or scrubbed or whatever.
And you're getting ready to talk about the camera flashes of the
well, yeah, just like
Yeah, go ahead, Ange.
All eyes. Thank you, Phoebe. Thank you. All Eyes was saying that in that footage, there's like parts of it there's a part where the helicopter is actually filming, and you could see another helicopter in the frame, and it just kind of like freezes there. And I'm pretty sure because they fly right over what we now know is the crime scene at that point. Like you can tell the before and after. So I always just assumed that they edited that.
You can actually see the crime scene tape and the camera flashes.
Yeah. So I just remembered that. I haven't watched that footage in a long time, but it's because at that point they had obviously been found because they're photographing the scene. But I don't know that the news choppers knew that, or if they did, they obviously were like still, I don't know, able to fly overhead. It's just weird. The whole thing's just weird.
Very.
I want to cue this one up for you guys. Let's see if you guys have any thoughts about this video right here. This is the side or the back of the Carroll County Courthouse, and this is one Richard Allen entering. Now, keep in mind the past year and a half, how he's entered the building and everyone who's been around him.
He's so little.
Wow, it looks like it's just a couple of local cops just escorting a regular pretrial detainee.
Yeah, just a Dodge Durango.
That was probably a comfy ride.
Hey, he's just in the back of a Dodge Durango, goes in. He doesn't have a black box on his wrist.
Yeah, there's not the surf SWAT team there.
Yep.
That makes me so fucking mad.
No shock vest.
Doesn't look like it.
What a fucking stupid fucking case. This entire case is so fucking stupid.
No, I do like Fiend said it's a prank. And you know what? No, I'm actually starting to love that theory, Fiend.
It is. It was. Today was a prank.
I mean, it's a jarring juxtaposition as far as like, okay, like what have you been doing this whole time? If this is acceptable today, why wasn't this acceptable this whole time?
And I think that was Cass County Sheriff, right?
I've never gotten any verification on any of that.
I think they have white cruisers, and I think that Carroll County has different colored cruisers.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if like that was some of the reasoning for the non-public portion. It's just to it's very clear that they want to keep his location like under wraps, and they, you know.
Why do they have him listed as a black man?
Well, I think they're just being silly. I think that they thought, hey, what can we do to conflate this a little bit? And someone was just like, hey, I know what I'll do. I'm gonna put him in as a black dude.
So stupid.
Like, smart idea, dude. You are morons, literally.
So you mean like when people are looking him up, they look it up and they say, "Oh, this is a black guy. It's not him."
Right? Or yeah, and dude, people do say that. People say, "Well, no, there's lots of Richard Allens, so that's there." Hate to break it to you, there's multiple Richard Allens. Like, no shit, dude. Like we can tell that like his case in Vine was literally like tied to the same Richard Allen that was booked in 2022. So we know it's the same guy. He got the same birthday, you know, like it's not like we don't know. They just want to like confuse it. But, you know, they don't want somebody ban Dan.
I was trying to find it, but
Oh no, you said he was kidding.
he's idiotic, man.
Well, too late now. Too late now. If somebody else
Can you not, DB? Really? God. Thank you for that update, Dan. Oh, good. All Eyes is back.
Sorry.
You're fine. Can you hear me?
I can now. I couldn't before. I couldn't hear anybody before,
Really?
and I thought, oh shoot, was I? Yeah, sorry. I don't know what.
I'm
I don't know
having
what it
some
was.
streaming issues myself. I can hear very well.
Well, is it okay?
I
Well, if
agree
you can
with
hear me
Dan.
now.
Overblown crap.
Lord.
Yeah. True that.
Royal Weiss. That's highly likely. That might be the simplest explanation.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so what do we think happened today, All Eyes?
I heard Liggett had a hissy fit.
Yeah, I want to hear All Eyes with some wild speculation.
Yeah, so let her talk, bro.
She's always dunking over the wild speculating people. Now I want to hear All Eyes do some wild speculation.
Well, I only know. I mean, I don't actually know what did happen or probably happened, other than there's not much they can do until the state turns over what defense needs to do their job. So if they're still waiting on depositions and that kind of stuff, there's certain things that they probably had scheduled today that they can't proceed on until defense takes care of this other stuff. But they can't take care of this stuff when Nick keeps pretending like they don't know where anything is or they've turned everything over. And it's not until like defense has to literally catch them in lies before they'll turn some of this stuff over. And I think there must have been something else that they dug up to be able to say, okay, we've got either a corrections officer or a warden or a doctor or one of the people we deposed. I think they did those in March. One of the ISP guys, like they deposed somebody who revealed something that now they want to depose somebody about. And they've probably been asking for months now for either a report or to depose someone or for the name of somebody. And they're still waiting on it. And I think Nick was trying to push it as far as he could because he's done it before. That's where my mind goes to with all this. I don't know if it was just well, fuck, we can't proceed because they do need to be able to do this. There's still time to do it. So now we got to let them do it. And then we'll come back for a status hearing. That's as speculative as I can get. And I assume Liggett threw a hissy fit because
I mean,
he's
I
ridiculous.
kind of go with what was said. The only person that said anything about what happened is Rosie said nothing. Someone asked him, hey, what happened? And he says nothing. So like it's the only thing we have based on anything. I thought it was going to be weird that you set up a status hearing, but obviously the status for both sides is, hey, judge, we're waiting on you to rule on this motion in limine. Like how do we have a status on anything until we have that?
Well, I'm going based on the filings today.
So maybe that's what happened.
That's all I have that's all I have really to even like speculate on. So I'm kind of trying to fit that into it, but I don't know that is it.
Yeah, I don't know that the filings have anything to do with the status hearing for today. I wouldn't jump to that.
Well, I think that's what they've been trying to deal with, because I'm going through these filings, I just got through most of April, and whatever's happening in April is stuff they were arguing about in March. And when I look at the March filings, it's stuff they were arguing about in February. And that's kind of just the pattern that has developed, where they have to file something ridiculous and specific and almost posturing in order to get any kind of leeway, because then they'll have to have a hearing about it. Nick doesn't want to.
I agree with that. I think that when you see the filings on the same day as a hearing or the same day as something else is happening, like it's posturing by both sides, and you saw both sides do it. They're trying to influence something that happens in this hearing, but I would wager to say that it was unsuccessful by both sides, because it sounds like maybe nothing happened.
Well, I think the only reason I think at this time is because they are running out of time. Like, when else are they, like, they have not much time to get these depositions and then proceed. The reason they do the depositions is because that's where they find out about these other reports and other evidence that wasn't turned over that they need to go track down. So I do think there's a little bit of a different kind of deadline at this point, because they have pushed this thing so many times.
That's only if you believe that there's like a firm deadline. And in these types of cases, there generally isn't.
Well, I know and that's why I don't really know, because they keep pushing it. I don't know that they can push it again.
Oh, I think I wouldn't rule out that that's exactly what already happened.
I think I'm trying to avoid letting myself believe that, because he's filed for a speedy trial twice, and they're still having to continue it because
once you waive it, that you waived it. So
you can refile it though. He's done it twice. Like, he did it while they were trying to, but they got kicked off before. That's the only reason they didn't do it. Like,
no, so they filed it once and then they waived it once, and it currently stands that it's been waived.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you can still, like, you don't waive it forever.
Oh,
they can refile it. They can refile
like,
for speedy.
They did I think this time they refiled for an early trial. I don't know if that's different than than early, but like, they've filed that. I think what I'm trying to, I don't know how to characterize it, if it's speedy or early, but I think if they do it, I mean in a sense of they're always having to proceed in a way that will piss off the judge the least, because no matter what they do, they piss her off, and she does retaliate in some form or fashion, one way or the other, whether it's like scolding them publicly or degrading them, or like passive aggressive orders that she puts on the actual dockets, which is insane. But like, they're trying to like, sometimes I don't think they're doing it because that's what they would do ideally. I think they're constantly having to triage and go with the least, because they do some things and then Gull acts a certain way, like it's ridiculous for them to do that. So like, okay, well, we're not going to try that again because it pissed her off. And even if we want to go this way strategy wise, like, it's not good strategy to do something we know angers the judge. So we got to try to, like, I think they're trying to pick their battles in some cases, because every time they just do what they think is best, their client gets punished for it.
Right.
And so like, they're having to pick and choose between really bad options all the time. And it's not fair that they're doing that, or that they're having to do that. But like, what else are they supposed to, like, okay, well, let me just let my client keep getting the shit end of this just on principle. Like, they're having to make really difficult choices because nobody else in that situation gives a shit about any, like, the state wants to close this case whether it's solved or not. They don't give a shit. And so defense is having to proceed understanding that. And so, like, when you're trying to win someone over, or like, whether it's an election or an argument or a case or whatever, you gotta work with, like, you got to do it with the reality you've got. Like, these people are not fighting fair, but they don't have any power to do anything about it. So they're having to proceed as best as they can. That's the only way I really know how to put it. But like, the file, like, I think something must have happened today where they can't proceed until defense is allowed to complete something. Like, I don't know what else it would be. I know there's plenty of things it could be. I just don't know.
I'm really pleased with the wild speculation from all eyes.
Yeah, I don't know what Liggett's deal was, but like as far as the hearing, that's all I can speculate on. Liggett, I think it's funny that he was the one hollering this time because I didn't know he seems kind of like mousy and quiet and kind of like
Doesn't he? He does.
He does. He seems like a little kid in gym class who's scared to talk to the other quiet kid in gym class or something.
All I
was
just saying, he's a punk bitch.
Well, I mean, he's like, I always feel bad dunking on him because he is such a dweeb. And so I feel bad, but at the same time, I'm like, fuck that guy. He's the sheriff. Like, he's doing some dumb shit. This is corrupt. This is bad. So, like, I don't feel that bad, but I kind of do. Because he's so dweeby.
He is a wolf in dweeby clothing.
Yes, for sure.
He is not a weak
He's
man.
pretty calculating, that's for sure. And I do not like it when people pretend like they don't understand stuff. That was one thing that bothers me, when he pretends like he doesn't know things that he obviously knows or that he obviously knew. Like
he's not fucking Columbo, you know.
Yeah.
One other thing.
I mean, he's got to be pretty calculating to be sheriff because he does not have good ideas. He does not speak very well. Like, was not the best candidate for anything, and he won. So, like, he must have been making some power moves behind the scenes or something, because I don't know how he got all those dudes in those shirts to line up behind him. You wouldn't have caught me dead in that picture. I'd be like, I don't want anybody to think I support this dweeb. Like, he's kind of weird. So and the other guys were actually like, I wouldn't be embarrassed to like tell people I was voting for the other guys, but Liggett, I would be embarrassed to say that out loud. So I don't know how they got him in pictures.
Liggett
must have been like promises.
You know who his best friend is? Like, best friend in the world.
Tobe?
Josh Dysinger.
Oh my, you're joking.
No, they're best friends.
How?
That's my best bud.
They're BFFs.
My buddy and me.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic. Are they really?
I swear to God. I wish I were. No, they're like best
strange.
friends.
Which one of Dissinger's relatives lives by the Allens or lived? I know he's got a relative. I don't know if it's a brother-in-law or brother or an uncle, but there was a family member who lived on the same street as, like, I guess on Whiteman Drive or whatever. Are those like just they have the same name, or are they actually related?
I don't know.
There's some discussion about that. I don't think they're related, maybe distantly. There are a couple Dysinger family lines in that town.
Like in a regular city, I would not assume everybody was related, but when it's that small, it's hard not to assume they're related. But I always ask because I'm not sure. I just know there was a that was the first time I heard the name. But yeah, I am learning some things about Mr. shows up first and never has anything to say that helps anybody figure out what happened, which I do think is weird.
Your body language. This is I can't wait to DM somebody in a little bit.
I'm so chilling. I'm loose. I'm not, I got nothing to say. I don't even know that. I don't even know that name.
Yeah, I don't, I'm trying really, really hard to not dig into the Flora stuff because I'm trying to stay focused on, that's just, if I don't stay focused, I have the potential to go into way too many different directions and never finish anything.
Yeah, no, so nobody here has that problem all I.
So like I'm like trying real hard not to, even though there's so many times where I could probably go off on like all into that one, and I will at some point, obviously, but I'm trying not to as of now. But that dude comes up in a lot of stuff. And not just because of the Flora stuff, but like when I'm trying to look up even different cases or previous things that, I don't know if they're lawsuits, but you know, when you're looking at different cases on Case Text or on like Justia or whatever, the stuff that he's called a hero for, like there's just tons of stuff that I guess the way to become a hero is to have all these things that you show up to that nobody knows what happened. Like that is one thing that's very strange to me in this area, is all these people who are getting a lot of praise. They never seem to have anything useful for the people investigating to learn anything.
Right.
Like how do you always show up and then have nothing helpful?
How are you the first person on I'm trying to be careful on the scene for 4 fatal fires? That's just fatal fires.
Weird.
That's not all the fires he's the first responder for.
It's true. There's
Just
a lot of
fatal
them.
fires. So he happens to be in the right place at the right time all the time.
That's fucking illegal.
I mean, he fits like the profile of the thing that they teach all the people doing the hiring and investigating to look out for.
The hero?
Yeah, and I mean, it's weird because just because someone fits a profile doesn't mean they are the profile, but at the same time, like, are they even looking?
No.
Like, has there been any serious inquiry into, like, okay, well, let's at least clear it up? Because that's the other thing I find weird, is when something's real easy to clear up and
they
people
don't?
just don't.
Right. Like,
I'm
why
like,
do you
why
wait?
not?
Yeah. Why wait
not
32
settle?
days
Yeah.
to search a property where 2 bodies are found, right? Like, just very easy things that they just like avoid.
And that, I have a hard time with that kind of stuff, because when I, like, whether I make a mistake or a fuck up or anything, I can't relax until I have addressed it or fixed it or accounted for it, or, like, you know what I mean?
I could
Like,
vouch for that.
I just like, I will twist myself in knots over it, and just to make sure, like, I didn't like, I need to correct it or amend for it or whatever. So when people don't do that and they're like they have like a badge and like that's their job, like, it's not my job to do that kind of stuff or to be accountable to the public or anybody, and I still
Right.
do it. So when people who are accountable to the public don't clear stuff up when it would be real easy to clear stuff up, I'm like, that is not normal. That is a red flag, and like, in my mind, that is a red flag for all kinds of things. And then when people act like it's not, that's another red flag. Because I'm like, the people telling me it's not a red, why don't you think it's a red flag? And if y'all are the ones who are like the little political dynasty people, and they're all like self-appointing each other for this musical chair of all these positions, it's a strange dynamic.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's sus.
Mm-hmm.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think there's a reason that things that could be easily clarified aren't. And it's almost like they don't want to like lock themselves into, it's almost like they're afraid of what they're going to find, or like they don't want to clarify because then they're going to lock themselves. Like, why be so ambiguous about the sketches? Is this one person or 2? Like, they don't want to ever lock themselves into a story, because
the only time that would make sense to do is if you have nothing and you want to leave yourself an out to go either way, because there you don't have like, once you know, like, you should want to lock yourself into something, because you should want to lock yourself into what the fuck happened. And the second you find evidence of something like that, you should, like, you should be able to commit to something. But like, they cannot, when you have so many things left open, you don't have anything.
Right.
And that's just kind of how, like, by default, kind of like the whole subjective thing, like, if you have a subjective finding, you don't have a match. That is literally, like, you just don't. And when they try to act like it's something it's not, that kind of shit gets under my skin, when they're not truthful and they're like Weasley about stuff. I'm not patient with that at all. I'm not very lenient or forgiving when it comes to that, because that's literally their job. They receive specialized training to be good at this, and they never stop coming up with excuses for why it's not actually their job. And if they're not good at it, it's because they're human. We're all human. but
We
like
make
you're the one,
mistakes.
but you're the one we pay to be good at it.
We
And
pay
so
you,
when
and yeah, it's your job. It's their job, you know.
like yeah, we have a whole infrastructure in society built around having people to be good at this and competent and trustworthy and accountable, and they act like that is when you hold them to those things that they campaign to do and to honor and to serve or whatever. When you try to hold them to it or like scrutinize even mildly, they clutch their pearls and they it's so strange to me. I don't know. It's weird. I don't
They
understand it.
retaliate. Yeah, they retaliate.
Yes. They get real butthurt and it's I don't know. It's kind of pitiful and that kind of shit. I'm like, ugh. I don't know. I don't like it.
And they're not real nice.
No, they're not. And it's
That
I
was
don't
one of
know.
my favorite quotes of all eyes right there was when she said, Holman's a
think it
dipshit, and he's not real nice.
he's not. He's not at all. He's volatile and he's slimy and like he says one I think what really gets me is when you see him in these interviews and he's acting real soft spoken and caring and concerned. And then he's talking to other people not on camera, and it's not like that. Like he's definitely got two different personalities, and it's not in the sense where I think about that Greg Ferenczi video where like the FBI director did part of his eulogy. Like this man was well respected, and they were talking during his service about how even when he arrested people, they thanked him because he was still very like he still treated people with respect even when he was questioning them or whatever. He has a much better record at solving crimes than all of Holman's are like unsolved cold cases. No, nobody knows what's going on. Like he does not have a good record when it comes to being a detective. Greg Ferenczi does, and it's just funny like when you hear people talk about his police work and how he conducted himself in the course of his police work, whether you're asking another detective or the actual criminals that he's arresting. He's got he's well respected. Holman, on the other hand, has a bunch of two different faces, can't keep a story straight, and there's not I think this case might be the only case where the victim's family actually doesn't despise him. And so that is a very strange dynamic to me to see, and I try to be mindful of that. But other victims' families of cases that he's looked into do not want to have dinner with him. They're not going to want to travel with him. And so I think it's weird that all these journalists are acting like he's a nice man when he's not. He disregards laws and rules and boundaries. Probably. He does not. I mean, he does not. I don't know if he just thinks he's above the law or if he's one of those people who thinks, well, it's not a crime when the president does it. You know, like the whole like with Watergate. Like the president thought it wasn't a crime if he did it because he's the president. Like some people have that mentality. If they have a badge, it's not misconduct when the state does it. It's
Right.
justified in their mind. Holman operates like that, and that's not true. But he does it. He does that kind of shit anyway, and I don't understand why there's no accountability for it. But I mean, I do, but I don't understand why people are acting like it's a myth. Like there's documented histories of his other cases, and they're not good. They're nothing to be proud of, and so I don't know why anybody would want him in the middle of like if I ever had anybody investigating my death, he's the last person I'd want anywhere near it or my family.
Right.
I don't know.
I agree with all of that.
Yeah, but he is a dipshit though. Like he is also dumb. Like some of the stuff he says, I'm like, I don't know how he's made it this far.
Yeah, like watching his interviews, it's like mind-numbingly, like mind-numbingly dumb. He says a lot without saying fucking anything. So.
Because he does not
he
have
had a lot of people doing other stuff for him too. Like he was telling Harshman, he made Harshman listen to all that stuff, which is fine. Like he is a lieutenant now, but even back then, like earlier on, if he was telling people to do stuff and not actually looking at stuff himself, when he became the lead investigator, actually reviewing the interviews that people were doing and stuff. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of it has to do with probably all the work he was doing on Keegan Kline as a suspect, and he got fucking played.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that is something he wants to hide now, and
Oh,
it just
yeah.
is embarrassing to him.
Well, yeah,
So, yeah.
I think
absolutely.
he got played by like a fiddle by Elvis as well, because I don't like, he's the only person who walked away from that who didn't think that interview needed more follow up. He was the
Yeah,
only
well,
one who was like, no, that dude's good. We're all good. Nothing to see here. No
I think it
concerns.
was
Like, his
because
professional judgment never lines up with the people who have a good record of solving crimes. Like, he's always on a different page than the people who have a good record. He doesn't seem to see a problem with that. I don't know.
yeah, I think he was really locked into a theory at that time.
I
And he was
guess.
already spending so much resources and probably, like, promising an outcome and saying that he was closer, that he's like a person that I feel like would be like, "No, we're there, we're almost there. We just gotta do this, we gotta
Yeah.
do this, we gotta do this." And, when that may work sometimes when you're knocking over a meth cook and, like, that it's gonna be there, but
Yeah.
this was something entirely different, and he got played by an internet troll that just took him for
Yeah.
took him for a ride, basically,
Well, I
multiple
mean,
times.
they lit a gazillion dollars on fire for that. I don't know how much that research cost,
I
but
think
they
just
lit
under
a
a
whole bunch
gazillion.
of, yeah, they definitely lit it on fire, had nothing to show for it. And I mean, that's the kind of stuff you might see some accountability for when you light that amount of money on fire and have nothing to show for it. So I do understand there was a level of desperation even without the election or any of the other stuff. That in itself is enough. But then when you add in all the other stuff, it becomes even harder to ignore that there was some shit fuckery going on during that time frame leading up to everything else that happened. And none of them were about to tell on each other because they were all kind of fucked after that river search, because they all fucked up and they all knew it. And it was just kind of like survival mode, I guess. I don't know. But that
Well,
they're
so
not real good at the detective stuff.
part of that too is, like, I wonder if, because if you spend that much money on a search and you don't find anything, that does happen. Like, there's a lot of searches out there that turn up nothing, but they receive credible information.
That's what I mean. Like,
And
most of those searches are based on credible information, and this one wasn't. But somebody pretended like it was because they have been bluffing their way through all of this.
yep.
Like, one bluff after another to get out of the previous bluff that blew up in their face. Like, that's kind of, it's like it's happened repeatedly from the beginning. It's, I mean, when I say it's beyond parody, it is. Like, everything about this, you can't make this shit up, and you can't make fun of it more than it make, like, more. It's insane. All of it is. I don't know how they have been allowed to get as far as they have gotten. I don't know how any judge has taken this seriously. And it wouldn't have been unless one judge did, and of course it was Diener. But I mean, he was editing their motions. There's no way he's going to edit their motions in a way that he's not going to then immediately sign.
Yeah, he
Like,
probably
this was
wrote
like,
it.
yeah, I mean, and all Nick, I can't get past Nick at that hearing. He was like, but I think it was Toby's question. He was like, yes, but you reviewed it, right? Like, you didn't see anything in there you didn't like you initialed it, right? And I'm like, this is not the argument you think it is, sir.
Yeah, you shouldn't be a judge who's authoring.
Like, what is he gonna shit talk the judge's handiwork? Like he was ever gonna say no? Like, the judge basically proofed this and edited it down to the part about the whole world. This is a kid, like, the whole world. We got to keep him safe because the whole world is now gunning for this man that we just told everybody did this with no evidence.
Yeah, the planet.
And now they're all mad at him, so now we have to keep him safe.
Right.
Like they gave a shit. They obviously did not give a shit about keeping him safe.
Yeah.
But, like, it was just, like, that's how this whole thing is gone. Like, they've bluffed because I do think there was a point in time where at least one person was like, maybe this is our big break. And if we can just get into that house, we'll find what we need. But they obviously didn't because nothing happened after that. And when they got all the shit back, they did the same thing they did before. Nothing. I mean, they got that tip in September and didn't do shit for a whole month with it.
Right.
Like, if you got a tip that said what he told the judge it said, why do you wait a month to do anything? Like, what? And there's no, like, what could they have possibly, other than campaigning, what was he doing? Like, there's just all these gaps in time that when you try to put into perspective and figure out, okay, these things that they did get in place do not take that long. So what the fuck else were they dragging their feet for? Like, they're not able to account for their actions, for the time, for any of this. And people are acting, some people think that's normal apparently, or they just rationalize it away. It's not normal. There are still questions that need an answer, and nobody's asking these people to show their work. And I think they should, so that they can really see what's going on here. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand why people are making excuses for them. That's another thing I find real strange. This is their job. You shouldn't be making excuses for why they shouldn't actually have to do that for their job, or why it's okay that they didn't fulfill that duty or this duty or whatever. Like, that is bizarre to me. I don't understand it.
Yeah. And the judge is like literally the worst. I mean, actually, Diener's worse, but she's certainly made it very easy for them to not have to account for anything or
She
show
just
their work.
takes them at their word. If the state files it, she just automatically gives it merit just by default, even when it's not warranted.
Yeah.
And that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and she scared me when I'm just waiting. It's not even like a question in my mind that she's going to grant the state's motion in limine. I mean, she literally said in her last order, the state cleared Brad Holder. I mean, if that's her belief, then why on earth would she allow third-party evidence about Brad Holder? I mean, she basically has telegraphed how she will rule. So no wonder, I mean, I'd be quite disgruntled leaving a closed-door hearing, with a judge who's made her mind up already without seeing the evidence about my client's guilt. It's like, it's just bizarre. It's awful.
Like, I feel like the way she's proceeding is that the state's theory is fact, even though it's not.
Right.
And when you do that, you're going to call the balls and strikes in a way that supports that.
Yeah.
My concern is that she's not going to actually let the defendant defend himself.
Oh, no.
And the jury's only going to hear what she already thinks, because that's how she rules. And the way she's like, it's already like, it's predetermined whether she doesn't seem to be aware of that. She seems to think that she's not biased, but she is, because she's giving weight to things that do not have the weight. She's like, even with last year when she's, her findings about Richard Allen was actually receiving special treatment at that facility. That was obviously bullshit to the point where she had to vacate it, but she has not, like, her judgment has not changed on the other stuff.
Right.
Like, the vacating the safekeeping order was a good step, but it was bad that she did it in the first place. Like, that was like literally the least she could do to correct an error. There are still so many more that she does not seem to find an issue with, and it's because she's just already decided what's going to happen and what is, like, before they even got a chance to actually introduce the third party stuff in a motion, because the Franks was out, but like when they're trying to do pretrial stuff and get rulings on stuff, she'd already made up her mind before certain arguments were made, I guess is the way to put it. Like, before the arguments were made, she's putting stuff in emails, preempting decisions, I guess. That concerns me for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, for sure. I still want to know why I just still want to know what happened last April, the day that she issues her order on safekeeping, basically saying he's fine. The DOC can do what they want with him on the same day that they have that hearing, and DOC does what they want with him. Like, I don't know that we'll ever know, but it's just very.
I'm still trying to figure out if that was like, it wasn't DOC. It was she specified it was according to DOC's medical directives. So like whatever the prison doctor said, like even though I guess they are one and the same, but apparently it was up like ultimately again supposedly like I don't know that that's how it actually went down, but according to the order it was supposed to be whatever like doctor's orders basically. If the doctor orders this, then DOC is now authorized to follow that directive. And what I'm confused about is in the hearings, it seems like the prison doctor was saying this man needs to be in a hospital.
Yeah.
And so like there was authorization from the judge to follow the doctor's orders, but for some reason what she says now that she believed, we don't know what her directive actually was. We only know what her testimony was in the hearing. So like that's kind of where one of the things I'm like just scaling and combing through all of these filings to see if I can find any indication of what that might have been. But I guess maybe we'll know more with the transcripts, but I do want to know what the directive was in the sense of, did someone recommend he be transported to a different facility and it didn't happen? Or because she was acting like she had no say in anything.
Yeah, but that's bullshit.
But Gull signed an order saying it's according to the doctor's orders. So I would like clarification on that for sure, because I don't understand the discrepancy between the order and her testimony, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Well, so what really is interesting to me is that she was confident in April 2023 when she told them, the DOC and whomever within DOC gets to decide, right? They can make the decision. So that's basically making a safekeeping decision. And then in June, after the safekeeping hearing last year, she issued another order on safekeeping and said, he's being treated better. He's fine.
Yeah.
But then in July and August of those hearings that we just had, she goes, well, I don't even know if I have the authority to rule on safekeeping. And it's like, you fucking did twice. So now you're trying to she just, I don't know. Does she not know the law, or does she just do what she wants? It's very.
That's what I mean about the whole, when people start pretending they don't understand things that is literally their job to understand, I start getting real skeptical because it is her job to know. And when people pretend they don't understand what their job is or what the law is, and they either have a badge or a robe, I'm gonna start thinking some shit fuckery is happening.
Right.
Because why is the judge asking that kind of question? Why does she seem so lost all the time? That's another concern I have. She does not seem to know anything that's going on in her office. She doesn't know how her people are filing stuff or anything. There's just a lot of stuff that even once she's made aware of it, she still will make statements after the fact that she's not aware.
Yeah.
Even after we find out she was made aware. So if you're made aware of some, all the stuff, the back and forth between defense and her about her, she sent the little tutorial and they were like, that's for court staff, not for us. Through all of that, we found out she was made aware that there was a problem with how people were filing stuff in her own office. What kind of judge finds out there's a problem like that and doesn't get to the bottom of it? That would seem like part of your job duties is to make sure your house is in order, and she's not. And so there's too much of that going on for my comfort. And it's weird to me that doesn't make anybody else nervous. It does make some people, you know what I mean? The people who are just acting like that's normal and not actually a very big deal. I'm like, okay, these things. Then what is the point of having all these rules if they break them and you're like, well, they're not actually. It's not that big a deal. Then what's the point of it? I don't know. That kind of stuff drives me nuts. Like, why else have these procedures in place then? Like,
Right.
are they like ceremonial? I don't know.
I think they're face saving, you
I
know.
guess. I don't know.
It's interesting that she's the it's like anytime anybody's under fire, they get promoted. So like Judge Gull is literally waiting to have the Supreme Court reverse one of her decisions, booting the attorneys, and right before that happens, she gets appointed as the she gets promotion, right? Chief administrative judge. Holman last spring, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say there's like they call it promoting the problem away.
Right.
Like if you promote the problem away, it's someone else's problem.
Right.
Then you no longer have to address it because it's the new boss's problem. And it's like, it is a very real thing. It happens a lot, especially in government agencies, because especially with like appointed or elected, even though there are ways to reprimand or like there are, even if you're elected, you still have consequences. Even like some people think the only consequence for an appointment or an elected official is an election, and that's not true. Like, they still have to be accountable to different offices and different checks and balances, that kind of stuff. But that's where promoting the problem away, like sometimes to avoid having to do that, to avoid retaliation for going against a political appointment or someone who's favored by someone else that you have to interact with, they promote the problem away. Like, there's a lot of politics in this, like decorum politics, even maybe not like actual politics, but like just the decorum being part of the institution, that kind of stuff. It's just, I think that's the only thing that explains Gull's promotion and Holman's.
Yeah.
Because they definitely didn't earn those. There's no way there were not more qualified people more deserving of those positions. There's just no way.
And the higher you go, the more protected, the more immunity you have. So it's like,
and that's just by default. I think of like, they got to protect the reputation of the institution, because if someone can get that high up in the institution, it does not reflect well on that institution.
Yeah.
And then people are going to lose faith in it. So I do understand, like, there's a balance, but like, this is the wrong balance. Like, avoiding dealing with those things, I think, makes it worse. And they're just pretending like they don't understand it. And that goes back to I don't like it when people pretend they don't understand stuff. And especially when it's their job. I can't get past that.
Yeah, and they're not convincing about it.
Yeah, at all.
Not even convincing.
I don't feel like they're even trying anymore, honestly. Like, they're not even pretending to care whether or not, like, it's, I don't know, like, they're not even trying. They're just like, I feel like at least with the prosecutor's office, I mean, they're just kind of taking a, if you don't like it, fuck off kind of position. They don't even care.
No, what were they? The motions to quash that McClellan filed were like the laziest thing I've seen him do. They were just a copy pasta, both of them, and I was like,
yeah,
it's not even try. But he doesn't have to try.
No, he doesn't.
Made it so that he doesn't have to, and it's like, it's frustrating.
There's 3 motions that I've been like recombing through to try to like turn into like a, I'm trying to make all these files dynamic and more searchable, because I don't like all this, like the real bad scans of the court documents. They're not always very accurate to like Control F search them. So there's 3 of them that I went through recently of the prosecutor's filings, and he put stuff in there that was not true. It was like, we know it was not true, and they have like later addressed it, but at the time the judge accepted it as true, and there's been even some of the stuff that we know now has been verified to not be true. there's no correction with any of that. Like it's still there. And Nick used one, I think it was in April of this year, where he referenced something about the defense. It was like a kind of a passive aggressive line about the defense withdrew after violating the judge's order, an order from the judge or whatever. They didn't violate that order. Like the Supreme Court even made a ruling on that, and he still put it in his filing in April of 2024 after we went through all of that dumb shit and that bullshit contempt hearing. Even all of that, like all of the stuff he tried to like tattle on the defense for doing didn't go anywhere because it didn't happen the way he said it did. But he's still putting stuff like they violated the gag order in filings even now. Like even stuff like that, like there's just little things through all of his filings that are not true, and they're just allowed to be, like, they're never answered or rebuffed, and anytime the defense does try to correct it, the judge gets mad at him for it.
Oh yeah, well, and then she'll put her opinion in an order. Like, it's like, what are you doing? You can't be doing that.
I don't know why, like, it's strange to me. Like, I like it when people correct the record and make sure that we've got the correct fact on the record, and she gets mad at that, and that, I think that's another reason I'm like, something is very, very wrong when the judge is getting mad at a correct record.
Yeah, that's supposed to be her job.
Yes, she's the one who's supposed to be doing it, and she's acting upset, like she takes it personal almost, and that's weird too.
She does take it personally.
They should be able to file this with any judge, and it shouldn't have anything to do with her. Like, you should be able to replace her with another one and nothing changes, but that's not the case here. And it's just strange. But yes, I don't know how he's allowed to just keep putting that kind of stuff in filings when it's not true.
Right.
How is that I feel like the standard's lower for him.
Oh yeah.
And it's supposed to be higher.
Yeah, she treats him with,
she bubble wraps him.
Yes, she does bubble wrap him. It's gross.
It is.
It's gross. She called him a ding dong affectionately.
Oh my God, that was so icky and weird, and like I felt so embarrassed when I read that. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable. Like, I feel like like, do you two need a room? Like, what is going on? Ew.
And I'm thinking, like, Brad's up there with her and Nick when he does that. Like, you just want to shake your skin off. You probably want to throw up all over him.
Yes, like I would have wanted to have been like, ugh.
Yeah.
like I wouldn't have been able to not react to that. I don't know how Rosie was able to. I would have been like, for real? Are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Ding dong, really? Ding dong. Like,
it's like such a and what the only thing that kind of like consoles me is that there's like, Nick has to know that that's weird and gross. Like, I'm sure he does. He's like teacher's pet. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean,
he likes that kind of stuff. Like, I don't think he's got that thing that everybody, like, happy, healthy brains have that feature that tells us when to be embarrassed so that we can alter our behavior. It is a feature, not a bug. And Nick is missing it. I'm like, there's so many times where he should be embarrassed and he's not. And so I'm like,
he has no shame.
No. Like, no. It's painful to watch sometimes. Like,
it is painful.
It's hard to watch.
It's very painful. He'll go into God, we were watching like the old council meetings the other day.
Oh, those are painful.
He'll just go in and be like, well, I mean, spring break is coming up. And also he's like, we had to work, 40 plus hours a week. And it's like, you're a county prosecutor. Like, you should be working 40 plus hours a week, period. Like,
he campaigned for this position.
They gave it to him. They just were like, here you go.
The thing that's weird about that to me too is the other guy that he was picked, like, they picked a former defense attorney over a prosecutor.
He's a good prosecutor.
Yes.
Really good prosecutor.
If you're picking the defense attorney over, like, in my mind, it makes me think he was not ever doing any actual defense work. He must have been teeing him up. Like, that's the only reason that makes sense.
Pat Manahan was his mentor and his teacher, and now he goes on and prosecutes cases that Pat Manahan defends. how hard do you think Pat Manahan is really defend? Like, it's so fucked.
Yeah, I think he does tell on himself a lot though, when he's like, the defense is just doing this. I'm like, no, they're not, but I think we're learning a little bit about what you used to do. I think he keeps telling us how he's talking about it like he never did any defense work. And I do think people tell on themselves sometimes when they're describing someone else, but like there's nothing to, like, he says the defense is doing this, and then you look at what the defense is doing and you're like, nope, those are not matching up. When that happens, all I can think is, I need to go back and look at your cases, prosecutor, and see what you were up to.
Oh God. And imagine the implications of, I mean, we've looked at cases where I just go back to a Frank's hearing and what that would do to not just this case, but every case that they've investigated and prosecuted, and like all of the misconduct. Like, they there's no way that will ever happen. It wouldn't matter how much. I mean, the burden has been met times 1,000 for at least a hearing.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's never going to happen because it will disrupt the status quo, and it will absolutely disrupt. I mean, people go to jail over this shit. You know, it's not just a slap on the wrist and a Brady violation. It's like, sometimes what happens is you end up getting actually investigated because you've committed actual crimes, you know, and it's like, there's a lot to lose for the men like holding the cards here. And I think
I think they should, I think a judge of all people should take this seriously, because if you have people with badges who are not honoring the laws and the rules that they're tasked with upholding and enforcing, that's a problem. And when there are this many examples and instances to point to of them not doing what they're supposed to do, and them playing hide the discovery and doing all this, there's a lot of stuff I've got all these little discovery chains that I'm putting back together because of the filings. I'm going through and putting, okay, on March 8th, this is everything that's turned over, and this is what it's, and when you go and look at them individually and the stuff that the state is filing, you compare it to what the state is saying in their filings versus when stuff was actually turned over. They're committing tons of discovery violations.
Yeah.
Back in August and September, they were actually obstructing defense from finding someone they did know the identity of in order to prevent them from deposing him when they were still preparing for trial. But like, this is not the behavior of people that you should be giving badges to, and you should not be a judge if you were the one allowing these men to continue doing this and like not even addressing these things. Like, these are actual issues, and she does not even seem concerned about them. I'm not even sure she's aware, because I'm not convinced. I am one of those people who's not convinced that she's read the Franks or any of this stuff. I don't think she ever read it.
No.
I think she might have gotten like a summary, or has maybe tried to read it and maybe got.
She put it into chat GPT.
Something, but I do think she might have just gotten so irritated with it and was like, I'm not even reading this. This is, you know, like, she's,
this is absurd.
Yes, like, I think she probably was like, because I do that with some stuff. Sometimes people will send me clips of like Murder Sheet, and I'm like, I'm not watching that dumb shit. I know you just want me to, like, you're trying to catch me up on like what a reference was to something, but like, I cannot watch that dumb shit. Like, it's so, it's lazy, and when I get real irritated when people say things that I know for a fact, like, I'm so knee deep in these filings, I know they're saying things that are not true. Like, I'm looking, you know, like, while I'm listening to it, I like have to pull it up and look at it, because I think, maybe I got it wrong. Like, let me check this real quick. Like, maybe I'm getting worked up over nothing. And then when I go look at it and find out, no, they're lying, then I get even more mad. So like, I turn it off, because I'm like, I can't even listen to them, because it's just, I don't like it when people, because if you say one lie, then like the whole rest of the episode is presenting one thing as if all the stuff they based it on is true when it's not. So that, like, it drives me so crazy. So I think Gull though must have done that because she doesn't even ever bother to go check first. You know, she just like turns it off. I don't know. I don't think she's reading it ever, or most of it, because even in one of the hearing transcripts, she even says, well, I don't actually know what's going on. Nobody's talking to me. Nobody's telling me anything. So like there are some cases where she doesn't actually know anything about this case.
No, I don't think she does. I think Rosie was right when he said, like, with all due respect, you don't fucking anything. Like, you haven't fucking, we haven't had a fucking hearing, you know?
I'm not entirely convinced Nick does either, because he just takes, like, Holman is the one who's been running around telling everybody what's what. Like, even in the beginning, he's telling everybody, oh no, this person was cleared. Oh, the professor, he ruled all this stuff out. And everybody's just taking his word and they're not actually checking anything. And so I think Nick has probably learned a couple of things after the fact, but he doesn't have the sense to correct you know, like to change course, alter course, or correct anything. He just doubles down on it because he doesn't want to like deal with. He's like, well, fuck it. Like, I guess this is our strategy now. I'm like, what?
Well, and I think he probably got wind of something. I don't know when, but I do think that at some point he went from being just kind of ignorant and puppeted to like more aware and complicit. And the fact that he was the one objecting to the transfer, the safekeeping transfer, most recently versus back in last June when he was like, I'm fine with it, put him in Cass County. And Tony Liggett was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Or somebody was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then last month, you know, he's the only one objecting now. So it's like at some point, it's like people become aware. But instead of doing what we see in other cases, like in the Alec Baldwin, I know it's a different case, not murder, but in the Alec Baldwin case, the deputy prosecutor got wind of some significant, like, intentional wrongdoing in the office. And she's like, I'm fucking out. Like, I'm not doing it. And she let, like, that. And
that's the right thing to do. Like, she had the correct instincts.
Right. And here, you know, instead, and in Marion County, Indiana, they have a a conviction integrity unit. You know, like there's actually prosecutors that exist even in Indiana who, believe it or not, are more concerned with justice than convictions. It's just like we're so deprived of that concept in this region in Carroll County that it's they get wind of, and they have this awareness of what they're up against, and instead of backing off and doing the right thing, they double down and they do it desperately so, and they end up committing fucking crimes you know, to do it.
I think the thing that turned Nick around, I think he realized taking the warden's word for shit is what I do think that played a lot into it, because the warden undermined his own testimony. I don't know how many times in that safekeeping hearing, because Nick was making filings in April that the warden was kind of alluding to, but, you know, when you fast forward to the most recent hearings and he's having to walk a bunch of stuff, you know, like there's a timeline that was given last year in real time and the one we're getting this year, like there's a discrepancy between when the state acknowledges that Mr. Allen was acting different. Like the time frame they gave last year is different than the one this year. And I do think there must have been some games of telephone going on, or maybe I think it was April 6th. The prosecutor and maybe some of the law enforcement went to Westville to figure out what was going on after Rosie and Baldwin ran up there to figure out what was going on, because they went up there. They still hadn't given Mr. Allen the discovery they left in March. And so the warden is feeding them this information that he's been given either by the doctor or who, I don't know where the warden was getting his information, because his in the Walla's testimony have a lot of discrepancies, but I think Nick proceeded based on it as if it was fact. And the warden's like, yeah, we're getting it transcribed. And he's giving him like a overview. And then that's all that happens. And I think somewhere in there, he realized he got screwed, basically. Oh, did I fall off? Oh no. I think I fell off. Oh no.
Damn, I thought that I was like, can everyone hear All Eyes? Yeah. She just couldn't hear me. Damn. I gotta stop doing that. Oh, well, good. Redneckzilla is still here. I think that if All Eyes comes back, that'd be great. If not, I'm probably going to end the stream because we've been going for a while and now it's just me. And this happens a lot too. I guess we were going to like look at the Walla motions, but I don't really feel like we need to because I know that Criminality went over them. So everyone go watch Criminality's live from earlier. But it looks like the defense is going to try and oh, yay! Hi, Matt. This is my best friend. I love Matt. Matt's the best. If you guys are not familiar with Matt's channel, The Honor Project, y'all should go watch his videos. They're really good. And I think he's got some new stuff coming out soon. But Walla is being investigated. Yeah, it looks like after the hearings that they had last month, DOC or the AG or both conducted, some additional investigation into her. So, Matt, you joined just as I'm about to go, but I love you. I'm happy you're here. His channel is called The Honor Project. Let me link it. I'm going to link it. Matt's the best dude. Matt, do you smell it? Do you spell it like a Canadian? Yes, I found it. Matt Sullivan. Oops. Here it is. Is that clickable? Okay, friends. Good. Everyone's been waiting for new Matt content. We're all excited for it. Well, it was nice to hang out with everybody tonight. We had a really cool panel. That was unexpected and really cool and fun. I'm going to do the thing I do where I just leave. But I love you all, and I hope you have a good night, and bye.
That's fucking illegal.